because Stu Baylor has made the move on Jordan Ashburn, and now he drives it up the inside and right around Ben Kelly. Stu Baylor getting aggressive, making moves, and straight to the front of the field from third to first here in a matter of about a half a mile of racetrack.
Yeah, I got up front early. Just tried to find my flow.
The man on the charge right now is the 514 of Stu Baylor on that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATVMC Kawasaki, fresh off a second place finish that he was not too happy about 2 weeks ago. Right to the point position and looking to try to run away with this one by the pace he's running. He wants to try to break these guys early is my guess. Stu Baylor's been putting on a charge, able to stretch out a gap, but now Craig DeLong right in that roost zone, eating dust and tracking down the 514 of Baylor.
All Craig needs is a little steam to build with him, and he can be a threat. He's a past champion. We know this. Let's bring this fight to the front.
Stu Baylor pointed him through.
I noticed that Craig was going pretty fast. Waved him by going down one of the hills. I knew he had some fast lines, so followed those guys for a lap.
Man, it just felt nice to be able to be up there at front and leading laps. Stu kind of pulled over and let me by. Once I got to the lead, though, I was like, man, I might have tried a little bit too hard, kind of blew myself up a little bit.
Was able to pick apart some of the track where they were going fast, and once I kind of caught my groove again, I think they dropped 10 or 12 on me, and I was able to pick them back off pretty quick there on lap 4. And those two were pushing and battling pretty good, him and Liam, and I could see that they started getting to the point of making mistakes, and I had already kind of taken my breather and paced myself to make that push. Craig was easy to latch on to and showed me the fast lines today. So hats off to him. He drove great. It was fun with those guys, Liam and them.
Stu Baylor has now gotten back around Liam Draper back up to the number 2 spot. Look at this. Caleb Russell on a charge and has closed up the gap significantly on the lead 3 in front of him. And look at this, now Stu Baylor to the lead, just kind of maybe playing these boys a little bit like a fiddle, opening up a bit of a gap now over the 342 of the long. Stu Baylor on a charge, taking over the lead.
Baylor feeling feisty here today.
We better watch out. Here comes the 557 machine of Russell.
I would like to be up there with Stu and those guys, make my life a little bit easier, because yeah, just having to expend a little too much energy to try to bridge that gap. And
this is a wheel-to-wheel battle now between the AmPro teammates. Caleb Russell in 4th, Liam Draper 3rd at the moment. That is the battle for the final podium position.
The AmPro Yamahas, that's a shift right there. That is not what it's been. And Caleb Russell has now been able to overtake the 3rd place physical position.
And look at the gap he opened up in literally just about 10 corners of racetrack. So you have to wonder if there was potentially Liam Draper made a mistake, or is he really feeling the effects of the heat in a very rough racetrack here today?
it was brutal out there. It was deceivingly rough and really just stress out of your body.
White flag waving in the hands of Ricky Towery, and Stu Baylor one more trip around this Kenda Powerline Park, blowing up that berm. And leading the way here in this one, looking to get his second win of 2026. He is just still on rails out there. You can see him squaring up those corners, hitting all his marks, and significantly faster than all of the other riders on track right now. Stu Baylor on that 514 machine, hopping and charging his way through these final sections of racetrack as he works his way ever so close to the checkered flag waving and win number 2 on 2026. Stu Baylor looking phenomenal.
We wanted to see the response from Stu Baylor, and we've got it. Stu Baylor going to get the job done and mark himself as the second two-time winner of the 2026 season. And how about that? Not even so much as a rev across the finish line from Stu Baylor.
I don't know why you got the warm water on me. I'm not hot.
How about it? Grabbed a third earlier this season, now steps it up one spot and grabs second here today out of your XC1 class, Craig DeLong.
And look at this. This is the battle coming to the finish line, wheel to wheel between Draper and Russell. Looks like it is still Russell in the number 3 spot. Draper trying to square him up, trying to see if he can make a move, letting the back end get loose there. Caleb Russell crosses the line in third. His teammate Liam Draper just behind him in the number 4 spot.
It was brutal out there, but I'm happy to land back on the podium. All in all, it was a good day. We fought hard and yeah, just chipping away, man. We got to get a start.
Nice to get up on the box. I think we had a decent points day, and I think we're kind of creeping ourselves way back in there a little bit. So, man, I'm excited. This is kind of a local race, so it feels good.
Everybody's seen it all year. I've been the fastest guy on average every week. We just haven't had the best luck.
Come on, make some noise for your XC1 Pro podium.
Hey, I've been riding good, and you know we should be not just a championship contender. We should have a good points lead if you actually break down where I was. I'm going to do everything I can. If there's one thing you can count on with me, it's don't count me out. So I can promise that we've worked our asses off to get here.
The 2026 Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, your AMA National Championship races into St. Clairsville, Ohio for round 7, the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC. Jordan Ashburn finds himself 16 points atop of the XC1 field, but your former points leader, Ben Kelly, tries to push through injury and see what he can do here at round 7. How are things going to shake up? Could Stu Baylor steal a win here at round 7? It's just about time to find out as we go racing live on Racer TV.
Are you ready to go GNCC racing?
Look at that. That is a full XC1.
Is this a NASCAR race? I think if Johnny can maybe send it around the outside like he's trying to do there.
I'm on the hot chair.
Justo gets the overall win with an lap time of 3:10.04, edging out Stu Baylor by less than 3 seconds.
Racing dirt bikes, it's a lifestyle. It's something where every single choice you make sets you on the path to how you're going to succeed or perform. You live this every second of the day.
Stu hauling the mail.
Stu is one of the most gritty riders out there.
Johnny out front, Caleb pushing as hard as he can.
This is everything they have.
That was a battle. That was a hell of a ride by both of those men. Like he's got a cougar on the back of the bike.
Stu Baylor taking the inaugural Talladega GNCC win. Been doing a great job, extremely patient, extremely intelligent out there, even in the heat of battle, and it's paying off for him right now.
2 wins in a row for King Kelly.
Overall leader, Grant Davis, as well as your physical leader out on the course.
Checkers are wreckers, and Grant Davis comes out on top. Your overall winner on corrected time and physically.
3 hours is a long time. 3 hours of racing is gnarly.
I know I can show up, and I know I can win on any given week.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 7 of the 2026 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. This is the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC. Johnny, it is crazy to already think we are at the halfway point of the 2026 season. It seems like just yesterday we were hanging out in South Carolina out at Big Buck.
Man, you know, these
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom.
How's it going?
We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
It's bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night.
All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Welcome back to New York. GNCC coming to New York is pretty darn awesome. We're grateful to be with you. Those of you that are part of our co-sanctions, we welcome you here. We'd like to see you come out and do some more GNCCs. And some of you GNCC racers, you may want to go to the co-sanctions as well. But it seems to be a good marriage, and we appreciate it. We know there's going to be change. It's not going to be perfect. But it's pretty darn good right here. So we're grateful that we're here. You know, we can't come into facilities just any place. We're so large. It takes a large piece of property. It takes a venue. It takes a staff. And we're able to find that here at Watkins Glen. This has been on our bucket list for quite some time to come to Watkins Glen. And, John? And so we're here. And we're here because of the lady next to me. Don Berlew is the president of Watkins Glen. She and I met a year or so ago at a safety conference in Daytona. She said, I heard about your type. I think I'd like to have your type here. And so, Don, we're here, and we're grateful for it.
And we're glad you're here. The team here at the Watkins Glen International has had a great weekend with all of you. We hope to see you all back. We hope you have a safe day today and a safe trip home. And please stay in the village if you can and visit all the tourist things, because we do have a lot here in the Glen. And I will tell you, it has been a great weekend. We came off a rough weekend with our NASCAR Cup, and you guys have proved that we can rebound and put on a great show for you. So enjoy your day, see you around the track somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Don's going to stay here and help me do something. If we could turn all your motors off, let's get everybody quiet the best we can. If your neighbor's got his bike running, have him shut it down if you don't mind. As Rodney used to say, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. Thank you. You know, folks, as you sit on this starting line and you think about Moto Heroes, it's not necessarily the guys up here in turn one that we're about to introduce. It's not necessarily the Stu Baylors or the Caleb Russells or the Liam Drapers or the Jordan Ashburns of the world. In fact, the Moto Heroes may very well be lining up right next to you. Those are the men and women that fought for our country, that protects our freedoms, and that allows us to do what we do here today. And we have a true hero that is on the starting line today, and we are going to recognize him now. He is from right here in New York. He is in the Vet B class. He joined the United States Army in 2015 as a 15U Chinook helicopter mechanic. He was assigned to the 160th Task Force, widely known as the Night Stalkers, stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. He became a flight engineer where he was deployed, count 'em, 10 times in various locations in the Middle East and Africa, accumulating over 1,500 flight hours. He left in 2022 for flight school at Fort Rucker, and he became a UH-60M Black Hawk pilot, and he's completed flight school, and in 2023 he moved locally to Fort Drum. He was deployed to Fort Drum. He went to Iraq for 9 months in 2024. He returned in 2025, and he is scheduled to go back in 2027 to the Middle East. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Moto hero, Darius Ham. Darius, if you would come forward now. We ask you to be recognized. You guys see Darius out there? Here we go. You don't have to run. Take your time. This is a young man that absolutely has dedicated his life to your freedom. Come on up here, Darius. Darius, on behalf of your GNCC racing family, it is our honor to honor you here today. You will receive this American flag from the Carolina Flag and Sign Company. You'll receive a $250 gift certificate from AMSOIL. And Darius, perhaps most importantly, you will receive this challenge coin. Although it comes from my hand to yours, it comes from all of GNCC racing families to yours. Hold that forever as we appreciate what you do. Thank you so much. Put your hands together for Darius Ham, our true Moto hero.
All right, one more time. How about it? A round of applause for our Moto hero. What a special, well, what a special thing that we do here at GNCC. That's one of my favorite parts of the weekend, no doubt about it. And another one of my favorite parts of the weekend is what we've got coming up next. If we haven't already, please, we ask for your undivided attention as now we turn the microphone over to our very own Mr. Ricky Towery to lead us in a word of prayer. Ricky?
Thank you. Hey, let's go to the Lord this afternoon. Let's have a little word of prayer together. Heavenly Father, once again, thank you for bringing us all back together safely to have a little fun together. Lord, we ask that you'd watch over these riders this afternoon, that you would keep them safe. Lord, we thank you for the landowners for letting us use this property to have some fun on. Continue to bless that family. And our military men and women, the ones serving today and the ones serving in the past, it's because of them that we're sitting out here today having fun together. Continue to lay your hands over the one that's in active duty today. And our leaders, Lord, at the high level and the local level, let them always make the right decisions for us each and every day. Lord, we just thank you so much for being in control of all things. We've already had so much fun this weekend. We just ask you to let us have a couple more hours this afternoon. And then we'll start heading down the road, going back home. Take us all back home safely, so one day we'll get back together like this and we'll have us some more fun. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen indeed. Thank you, Ricky Towery. And now Ricky going to jump on the quad and make his way into turn number one. All my riders, attention. Ricky going to be on the outside of turn number one. You'll see him. He's headed into position right now, pretty much straight ahead. Going to be on the outside of turn number one. And as Ricky makes his way up into position, we ask, if you have not already, please rise and remove your caps as we pay honor to the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Light them up, ladies and gentlemen. What do you say we go GNCC racing here at Watkins, Glen? As now things start to get serious. I'm gonna grab Kevin Kozad's EMTB, move it out of the way. I got you, Kevin, don't worry. We want to say a big hello to all of you here on site at the beautiful Watkins Glen International. We also want to welcome all of our amazing race fans watching around the world on Racer TV and Flow Racing. Now we get ready to introduce your starting row, the superstars of GNCC Racing, coming at you in accordance to points. Coming up first, he makes his way out of Livingston, Tennessee. He's on that Phoenix Racing Honda ride. He's got the reverse plates. Help me welcome the number 3 of Jordan Ashburn. Making his way to the line next, he's out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, riding on the AMPRO Yamaha, the 198, it's Liam Draper. Making his way to the line next, out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, he's on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna factory racing ride. It's the 342. Make some noise for Craig DeLong. Rolling to the line next,
coming out of Harlingen, Connecticut. He's on the FMF KTM Factory Racing back ride. He's your 2025 champ, the number 1. Put your hands together for Ben Kelly. Making his way to the line next. He comes out of Donald, South Carolina, riding aboard that Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki. He's got little Levi on board. Put your hands together for the 514 of Stu Baylor. Rolling to the line next on the Phoenix Racing Honda. He makes his way out of Catawba, North Carolina. It's the number 8. Put your hands together for Mike Wachowski. Rolling to the line next. He's got the whole family around him. He's handing out some high fives and knuckles. Coming out of Denver, North Carolina. He's on that Liqui-Moly Factory Beta Racing ride. He's on the rear wheel. It's the number 7 of Josh Strang. Rolling to the line next. Making his way out of Boonville, North Carolina. He's aboard the AMPRO Yamaha. How about it? He was your winner the last time GNCC was in New York. Put your hands together for the 557 of Caleb Russell. Rolling to the line next. Making his way out of Honey Pass, South Carolina. He's aboard that Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki. It's the Grizzly, the 314 of Grant Baylor. Rolling to the line next. He's coming out of Mojave, Pennsylvania. He's aboard that FMF KTM Factory Racing ride. The Playboy, as we like to call him. Put your hands together for the number 2 of Grant Davis. Rolling to the line next. He's also aboard that Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki, making his way now from Hickory, North Carolina. Put your hands together for the 206 of Josh Toad. And last but certainly not least, making his way out of Mocksville, North Carolina. He's riding aboard that Morning Duck Racing, JDP suspension, and Moose Racing backed Honda. It's the 336 of Ryder Lafferty. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row, the XC1 Pro Class. Here at round number 8, the first ever AMSOIL Watkins Glen GNCC. And now things start to get serious. As we've met the starting row, now we see DJ Jorge hopping out of the Mobile Entertainment Activation Transport. He's gonna jump into that Yamaha RMAX 1000. There's probably a sparkly helmet involved. And say it with me now, New York. DJ Jorge, remove the meat. As we get ready to close out what has been an incredible weekend here in Watkins Glen, New York. GNCC at the Glen. Been a fan favorite, been a racer favorite all weekend long. The racers have loved it, talking to them up on the podium. And if the racers love it, that usually means the fans are gonna love it as well. We have had wheel-to-wheel, bar-to-bar battles throughout the entirety of the weekend. Let's see if we can do it one more time. As now we turn our attention to the outside of turn number 1. A deep breath and a nod as Ricky Towery tells them 1 minute before we are ready to go. GNCC Racing here from the Glen. Ricky Towery takes a look down at the watch. Final preparations for the riders. As now it is time to go to work. There it is. Blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As now New York, I gotta ask you, are we ready to go GNCC Racing? Oh, come on now, folks. and it's the first time GNCC has been back in the great state of New York since 2019, the first time ever. Here at Watkins Glen, one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, your XC1 Pro Class. Here we go. Bike's firing up. Stu Baylor still stuck at the line. A bad start for the 514. Meanwhile, DeLong leads him in, but it's going to be Jordan Ashburn by about a Dunlop Nobby across the stripe. Problems for both Russell and Baylor early on in this one. They got their work cut out for them. Good thing they got 2 hours and 59 minutes of battle to go from here. Blue flag wave. Shut them down, shut them down. As we get ready for your XC2 250 Pro in. It's row number 2, XC2. And there's the flag. Gus Reardon, Jack Walker, Toby Cleveland, Jason Tino, Brody Johnson, Gavin Simon, and Jason Lipscomb all headed into turn number 1. How about it? A little bar banging, but it's going to be Jack Walker aboard the Liqui Moly Factory Beta, lead them in to that second corner, no doubt about it. 10 seconds, row number 3, 250A. Lane Whitmer, Colton Shields, Michael DeLosa, Joshua Connor, Dylan McDonald, Hunter Bush, Isaac Allen, Liam Anderson. Let's see, Cooper Jones leads them across the stripe, no doubt about it. Landers up there inside the top 3 as well. A huge class. As looks like they're pushing one machine off the line here. Clean and clear through our first few corners. 10 seconds, 4-stroke A lights. Doc Smith, Brody Amos, Logan Pellegrini, Lennox Riley, Jack Waden, Braden Baisley, Ken Corey, Cooper Duff, Ben Jacobs in there as well. Let's see, 225 on the helmet, Ethan Harwell. A rocket ship out of that first corner and gonna lead him across the stripe. As here we go, next row in 10 seconds, open A. Flags up, Cole Whitmer, Samuel Evans, Ranger Emmons, Caleb Baltimore, Van Adams, Will Stephen Piper, Trevor Houlihan, Cooper Davis, Colin Koontz, Devin Moore. How about it, Swole Cole, baby? Cole Whitmer gonna lead him across the line. Couple of riders down here in turn 1. They pick the machines back up and get ready to go to work. Out of your open A class. Here we go, 158, 10 seconds. Flags up, Charlie Sampson, Colton McQuarrie, Kyle Grinwicks, Joshua Gannon, Connor Calcas, Jacob Service, Gunnar Bowens, Evan Moyer, Landon Barker, Justin Havens, and Kyle Andrews. It's a KTM. Maybe the 495 of Landon Barker grabbing that whole shot. One rider late off the line, a couple having some trouble in turn 1. But looks like we are just about clean and clear here for turns 1 and 2. That A 30 plus, 10 seconds. Flags up, here we go. Nick Lay, Austin Melhern, Robbie Norwood, Brandon Monroe, Derek Thorpe, Cody Rollison, Chris Perry, Zachary Page, Daniel Clark, Ben Murdoch. It's a couple of KTMs. Whoa, on the back wheel. I got no shot on who that one was. He was at like 12 o'clock on the back wheel. Never cracked the throttle and pulls out the whole shot. Here we go, 10 seconds, Junior A 25 plus. Russell Smith, Tyler Braniff, Deshaun Horton, Spencer Welsh, Wyatt Ford, Jake Champion, Jason Key, Aaron Higgins, and Thomas Hendricks all headed into turn 1. A couple of green fenders lead them around. But how about it? 255 of Russell Smith on the Husky. Gonna cut down underneath and steal the whole shot away. 10 seconds. Senior A, 40 plus. Flags up, here we go. Joe Marsh, Frank Messina, Pete Petrini, Matt George, Jason Rounds, Tim Andrus, Nick Wheeler, Kevin Trommy, John Palmer as well. It's a sea of KTMs across the line. Was that maybe Nick Wheeler grabbing the whole shot as well? One rider gets dominoed across. Goes for a roll, but he picks himself back up. And gonna try to go back to work here on this one. Brief hold here in turn 2. Gonna try to get this rider back off and going. As here we go, 4-stroke B lights. Coming up in 10 seconds. Levi Riley, Andrew Sanders, Tucker McCrary in this one, Aaron Ball, Wyatt Hoover, Alan Geen, Philip Likens, Will Thurfield, Owen Mock, Seth Miller, Samuel Heater as well. A Mohawk leads them in, but the 505 leads them out. That's going to be Treston Walker. Couple of riders late off the line in this one. One more still to go. As here we go, a huge class getting ready to come at you, folks. 10 seconds. 2. Here we go, looking like a pro moto start. Over 40 riders barrel into turn 1. Matt Gray, Jake Zellin, Parker Shepard, Lucas Clark, Michael Stiles, Wyatt Johnson, Zach Rice, Avery Putney, just to name a few. How about it? 244 of Bailey Shadwell. Gonna credit with that hold shot. But the chaos here in turns 1 and 2. 5+ bikes down. A relatively clean turn number 2 though. As here we go, thumbs up all around. 10 seconds, open B coming up next. Flags up, Lucas Thurfield, Austin Bittinger, Neil Miller, Colin Hadlock, Dustin Wheaton, Ray Ramsey, Brandon Rowe, Blake Frace. Let's see, drag race across the line, maybe a 6.46. How about the 5.46 of Keegan Satterley? Possibly grabbing the whole shot on that one. Here we go, clean and clear. 10 seconds, 150B. Jagger Eckstein, Colin Godfrey, Connor Collins, Logan Fowler, Caleb Wiggins, Marshall Hess, Landon Garland, Cody Lund, Enzo Zachariah, Dylan Royer, Eric Bowler as well. Oh, let's see, I think that's Enzo. I believe that was a 5.60 of Enzo Zachariah, who I believe was also in some of our youth races yesterday. So getting the most out of it here. 10 seconds, Senior B, 40 plus. Larry Hopper, Craig Howes, Matt Sellen, Brian Sanford, Nick Grimm, Robert Kohler, Charles Nolan, Corey Edwards, Philip Solon, Brian McCall, Daniel Smith, and Brian Booth all in this one. Woo, it's a Husky across the line. I think maybe the 5.13 of Kevin Ney. Oh no! Our very own Nachi going down just in front of us. A little banged up here, gonna pick that machine back up. Throwing a crossbar pad to me. I'm taking that home. As here we go, round of applause for him. Let's hear it, Nachi's fired back up. As we are clean and clear. 10 seconds, Junior B, 25 plus. Alex Stoner, Zachary Agnello, Kyle Constant, Zachary Ponce, Tyler Daniel, Billy Saliga, Travis Weisner, Judson Boggs in this one as well. Oh, how about it? A good cut there from the 247 of Agnello. Don't think it was enough to be credited with the whole shot, but picked up about 8 spots there in turn number 1. Oh, here we go. Another biggin coming at you. Vet B 30 plus coming up in 10 seconds. Green flag's up, final row. Watkins, Glen, get loud for him. Headed into turn 1, Zachary Floyd, Addison Good, Josh Haskell. It's a Husky leading them around. 754 on the helmet. Mark Grinowicz, the West Virginia native, gonna grab the whole shot. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a clean and clear start. We are officially Watkins Glen GNCC Racing. We're gonna take a brief intermission here on Racer TV, grab a commercial break, and when we come back, we will pick up with the race call. This is the AMSOIL Watkins Glen GNCC. We'll be right back.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
When I came here to the ranch, like right when you roll through the gates, everyone kind of says you feel the same thing. This is such a special place.
Welcome to Best 42 in the land. All ages from kids up to grown men. Walk through the gates of the coal miner's daughter to make a point clearer than the creek water. Now who's the best? Who's it gonna be? In Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. Can you feel the adrenaline? Dirt flies hypnotized by the wind spin. Feel the crowd, everybody's listening. Right on the field. Do what you gotta do for 20+2 out at the ranch.
I love coming to Loretta's. This is my family, right? Really special for me, so a lot of good memories.
Love coming here to Loretta's.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back here to the 2026 AMSOIL Watkins Glen International GNCC. As you can see, we are now off and rolling here in beautiful New York. There, a shot of Seneca Lake, the deepest of the Finger Lakes there. Actually, the deepest lake in New York. Mr. Johnny G, how you doing today, Johnny?
You think there's any fish down there at those depths?
I would
maybe
say
like
so.
The Loch Ness Monster.
Hey, then all jokes aside, they said that, well, number one, there's some mysterious drums they said that have been around for centuries. Number two, there's supposed to be a lot of barges and ships that are down there in the cold depths, they say. 200 feet below sea level in some of those spots that are so deep there in Seneca Lake. It actually makes up for half of all the water that's in the Finger Lakes right here in the lake, just about 10 minutes down the road.
Very cool. Well, you see the infield here at the Watkins Glen International Speedway. Folks, don't worry. There's a ton of people here. This is just the parking for the NASCAR and the Speedway and the interior. At some point, we'll see a drone shot, especially yesterday, man. This place is absolutely packed. The fans have come out in droves. The racers have come out in near record numbers. We'll wait until we get the official numbers, but it's a great weekend for racing action here at Watkins Glen. And Jackson, we got it all underway with our specialized start recaps here.
Yeah, we sure do. Going to get things started with our XC1 Open Pro class. And as you can see, a great drive there from Craig DeLong, but it's going to be Jordan Ashburn that sweeps up the inside, and I think he's going to be the one credited there with that whole shot. We'll have to wait and make sure, though, as we have some officials down on the scene, but it is for sure Jordan Ashburn that gets in the lead at this point. But look at this, Johnny. The teammate going to sweep around the outside.
Yeah, you can see Mike Rakowski just taking that smooth line around the outside. Jordan Ashburn just pushing the back end out a little bit, having to let off the gas. And Rakowski on that number 8 Phoenix Racing Honda around the outside, first one into the woods. In the XC2, there was no question about it. It was Jack Walker up the inside, leaning a little bit on Toby Cleveland. Toby Cleveland trying to get a run there, but the 250 Beta, that Liquid Moly factory Beta of Jack Walker out front, he is tied for the points lead, and you can see Gus Reardon making some quick moves there as well. Toby Cleveland getting a little sketchy coming through there, and it was Reardon up into the number 2 spot as they headed into the woods.
Yeah, we talk about McGill having the 2-stroke on the 4-wheel side of things. Jack Walker, he's always running the 2-stroke here in our XC2 class, and as you can see, he's no slouch on it. Here you can take a look at our AMSOIL Watkins Glen Yamaha Racing track map, and you can see they make their way through a good portion of the woods. The little bit of woods we do have here, Johnny, we put them to good use.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of field sections, which is great for passing opportunities. We did get some rain again last night, making the dirt near prime this morning. Starting to get a little dusty in the fields after this morning's 2 morning races. We had an 8 a.m. and a 10 a.m. out there. There are some fresh sections this afternoon. And we're going to take a look and see just how things started shaping up through the first couple miles of racing here. But it was Jordan Ashburn back to the front. Ben Kelly making some moves there into the number 2 spot. Witkowski settling into 3rd. And quick starter Craig DeLong there in the number 4 spot, followed by Grant Davis, Liam Draper, Stu Baylor making some quick moves there. Josh Strang, Caleb Russell, Ryder Lafferty. If you were paying attention there off the start, and then here comes Josh Toth and Grant Baylor as well, sitting on the starting line, which you couldn't see during that XC1 start. Caleb Russell and Stu Baylor still sitting there long after the flag had waved, so they started from the back. But Jordan Ashburn, Ben Kelly, Witkowski, still Craig DeLong, and looks like still pretty much the same running order here. But Stu Baylor definitely making some moves very, very quickly here, working his way up through the pack after he was throwing his hands up off the start. You know he was frustrated when that machine didn't start. We know he's got a great run. Oh, here we see, looks like some of our XC2 riders should be coming here. We're told by OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon. Always quick on lap number 1 and working their way up into those top overall spots. Jack Walker, Gus Reardon, and the rest. I think we might get a glimpse of him here in a moment. But Stu was visibly frustrated, but we know he's got a great track record at first time going to facilities. Looking here, still about the same running order, but just like we mentioned, Stu Baylor making moves.
Ooh. There it is, Caleb Russell, Ryder Lafferty making his way by on that Morning Duck Honda machine, and then Grant Baylor followed by Josh Toth, and we should be seeing our XC2 class here momentarily to see if Jack Walker's still going to be in that top spot. Waiting and watching to see if we can catch a glimpse of our XC2 before we go to our next camera shot here, and there he is, right on time. Jack Walker still going to be in on the machine, and then just behind him, Angus Reardon having a good run to get it started, running in that second place spot just ahead of Toby Cleveland.
Toby Cleveland sitting there in the number 3 spot. Looks like they have pulled a bit of a gap. The co-points leader in that XC2 class, Jason Tino, I did notice another rider slow off the line, but you can see has already worked his way up into 4th place there, followed very closely by Gavin Simon in the number 5 spot, Brody Johnson 6th, and Jay Lipscomb 7th in that XC2 Pro Lights class.
Johnny, jumping back ahead to our XC1 class, as we see the first of our A-class riders making their way through.
Cooper Jones there on the 220 machine, a local product, actually lives in Pennsylvania, but not far at all from here. Grant Davis, there's several riders that live up in this region and actually at certain times throughout their career have run much of the NIOA or District 6 series, which both of whom are co-sanctioning with us. Then we got Mikey DeLosa there, also out of that 250A class. Quick start for him on that Yamaha machine.
Cooper Jones really able to open it up to get this one started off.
Looks like one of the Jenkins boys there in 3rd. And then I believe that was Hunter Miller in the 4th place spot.
Either him or Smith, yeah.
Or Hunter Smith, I'm sorry. Hunter Miller raced UTVs years ago. Sorry, my bad. Hunter Smith, correct.
So as I was saying just a minute ago, jumping back up to our XC1 class as we see DeLosa making his way by here in this camera shot, a little tap of the front number plate there. But Ben Kelly having some troubles a few rounds ago, Johnny. I believe it was his ribs that he was injuring there, and able to put some time between him and that injury, and looks like he's feeling a little bit better here today.
Yeah, he was strong early on at our last round as well. I didn't really get a chance to talk to him. Colt Shields coming by there, and then Hunter Smith just ahead of him. Coming back here just a little bit. 587 of Lane Whitmer, also out of that 250A class. And it's the 107 machine. We will have a lot of maybe not as familiar to us riders going back. I believe this is maybe the same camera shot, or we flashed a little further ahead, but we do have a lead change. Mike Wachowski there on the number 8 machine. But you were speaking about Ben Kelly. Seemed like he was pretty strong early on, and then I don't know if it was just the pain or what. He seemed to obviously struggle a little bit later on in our race 3 weeks ago in Ohio, ultimately ending up in, looks like he finished in the 8th place spot overall. So some valuable championship points, keeping himself in the hunt, still sitting there in that 4th place spot with Jordan Ashburn leading the way with 137 points. Liam Draper sitting in the number 2 spot with 128. Craig DeLong with 121, and Ben Kelly with 112 points. Mix in Stu Baylor. We talked about it a little bit in our show opener. He's up in the mix for the lead here already after a dead last start, and he is riding himself back into contention and the conversation for this 2026 championship, sitting back there with 103 points. So he is only 34 points out of this championship despite multiple DNFs and failures throughout the first part of the season. It seems like when he finishes, he's winning or he's right at the front of the pack.
Yeah, Johnny, taking a look now at our Yamaha Racing Live drone, and it is going to be the Phoenix Honda boys up front, but now Mike Wachowski going to be leading the way, Jordan Ashburn in 2nd, and then starting to see the KTM boys. Looks like Grant Davis has been able to pick up some spots now, running in 3rd, Stu Baylor 4th, and Ben Kelly 5th, with Josh Strang in the 6th place spot. Craig DeLong 7th, and then it's going to be the 2 AmPro Yamahas. Looks like Draper going to be just ahead of Russell with Ryder Lafferty behind that.
Yep, and that rounds out your top 10 as they run in that XC1 Pro class. We'll wait and watch, see if we get a shot of the XC2 guys. We can hear the train horns outside the Racer TV studio. No question about the enthusiasm of these New York fans for GNCC racing. They are happy to have GNCC back, and GNCC is happy to be back in the state of New York. Again, massive turnout this weekend for both spectators and riders, and it's really been a great weekend. We got rain just when we needed it. You can see some moisture kicking up, but obviously once that wind starts blowing, as we're looking at our battle for the lead here, Grant Davis starting to look a little racy there in the number 3 spot, getting closer to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn, trying to wrestle away that number 2 spot.
Yeah, I got to talk to some of the family of Davis there. They said he's feeling good going into today's race, and it sure looks like he's feeling good right now.
Yeah, Davis frustrating season for sure. Crashes and multiple bike failures. Looking back at the points, he's sitting all the way back in 13th place overall with only 55 points after 6 rounds of racing complete here, coming into round number 7. And, there's been talk of this is a guy that was at the top, frankly, of a very short list of, preseason contenders and all of the online chatter and the pundits and, everybody's saying, hey, this guy came so close last year, if not for that crash at the John Penton GNCC. had the championship well within his grasp. The overall championship still did win our XC2 title for 2025. But at this point, you know, we said this about Stu Baylor a few races ago. You're just racing for wins. Grant Davis surely at this point, you know, being 80 some odd points out of the championship lead, well, mathematically still not eliminated. He would need to win a whole bunch of races and have several riders in front of him have a bunch of bad luck come their way to get back into the mix. But he can only control the winning part, Jackson. So if he goes out there today and wins, at least he can say, hey, I'm doing my part. I'm winning races. We'll see how the chips fall.
Yeah, I talked about with Zach early in some of our earlier races. It feels like Grant Davis is due for some good results after the season that he's been having so far. So we'll see if today's going to be the day that he's able to secure a good run here, Johnny. Like you were saying, been off to not quite the season that I'm sure he is hoping for, but running in a great spot right now. The Honda boys, though, putting on a show up front as we continue to follow along here with Mike Wachowski from our live drone.
Yeah, looking back at Davis with those 55 points, that's on the strength of 2 finishes through the first 7 rounds of racing. Second place at, looks like it was round number 2, so that would have been Florida, and then he won round number 4, which was Camp Coker. And other than that, 0 points scored in the other 5 races through the first 7 rounds, and that is the tail of the tape when it comes to those 55 points, holding him back there in that 13th place overall in the points as they run.
Yeah, it's been make it or break it, checkers or wreckers for Grant Davis so far this season. Hopefully he'll be able to turn that around. Like we were saying, definitely one of our title contenders going into the season. I'd like to welcome Zach Heron back from the starting line. Zach, how did it go from your point of view down there?
Ooh, I tell you what, the boys were going at it. I heard a little deliberation. It was Jordan Ashburn grabbing that whole shot, but by about half of a tire knot. I mean, they were as close as they could get. And this has kind of been the story, close racing of Watkins Glen. I mean, whether it's been the four-wheel side of things, the youth and micros, all the way up to our pro ranks, we've had so many close finishes. And I think it's a hats off, first of all, to the GNCC track crew, being able to come in here, a blank canvas, as you will. You see our leaders on screen, and to come in and be able to carve this out where we're having many different racers of different calibers all saying, I can find a flow, I can actually race this track, I'm not fighting the track the whole time. It actually allows me to use my skills. Sure, one rider's going to shine a little more here or there versus the other, but man, I just love the way this Watkins Glen course has developed, and sounds like the racers do as well.
Take a look at this section right here. This is exactly why those riders have those hand guards on.
Yep, so that'd have been 2 fingers there, 2 fingers there for me. See,
look at
good thing you had
that.
him.
Jack Walker already up to the tail end of that XC. I don't know why we're surprised at this point. The XC2 guys absolutely rip on lap number 1. The line's a little bit more established, and just the intensity out of those younger riders. They pushed so hard at the start. We did see Gus Reardon just behind him there in the number 2 spot. Looks like it is now Jason Tino has made the move around Toby Cleveland up into that number 3 spot in the XC2. We'll wait just a few more. This is saying mile marker number 1. So yes, they have checked in. Looking at it in the overall, surprise, surprise, the top 3 overall out of that XC2 class. Jack Walker leading the way overall. Gus Reardon in the number 2 spot, and Jason Tino in the number 3 spot in the overall positions. Looking at our XC1 running order, you did just see it on screen, but you can see on the left side of the screen there, again, 3 XC2 riders ruling the roost and 5 XC2 riders in the top 10. But look at that, Cooper Jones in the number 6 spot out of that 250A class. So our top amateur rider well up inside the top 10 overall.
That was a great shot there as now we pop forward to our field section. You could see there just before that broken tree that everybody was hitting. On the other side, they had been getting in contact with that littler tree as well. You could see the insides of it being ripped open. And speaking of ripping, Stu Baylor still on the throttle as he makes his way through. And so does Josh String. Josh String off to a good start to this one.
Man, I know you guys talked about it, but seeing Stu Baylor there on the start, I mean, I've seen him get caught, you know, bike didn't fire immediately. He's a few bike lengths behind, but he had enough time to sit there. I believe actually raised a hand at one point, then went back and got the bike to fire. Definitely impressive to see how much time he's made up. But we've said it before, a ticked off Stu Baylor can be very dangerous and carry a lot of speed towards the front. And sounds like we actually have a pretty interesting replay earlier from one of our previous camera shots. Oh, Grant Baylor. So just like we talked about, you catch one of those sides, maybe a little more than was expecting, and Grant getting hitched across the trail and unfortunately right into that tusk tree there.
Oh, man.
Tough hit for Grant Baylor. And that's the kind of simple little thing. Grant didn't even fall down, but it only takes about 9 pounds of pressure to break a collarbone. Something like that so easily could derail a system. I've broken it twice, Johnny. That's how I know it. So.
Oh, I've broken mine more than twice, and I didn't know that. That's hitting you with knowledge there. And look at this now. Ben Kelly putting in a charge back up to the rear wheel. And if I'm not mistaken, I think at one point Stu Baylor had gotten around him or was right with him. He's now pulled away from Baylor and is back up to the rear wheel of Grant Davis. Sunday, wheel, not wheels.
Well, I tell you what else I'm not surprised to see looking at the pylon on the side of your screen there is Cooper Jones up that far. He had probably the biggest hole shot I've seen all weekend long, and it was just, you could steadily see him pulling away immediately from the time the flag flew. So Jones looking a little extra fired up and a little racy early in this one.
Well, if we think back to round number 1, I know it seems like a lifetime ago,
crazy.
But in mid-February when we were racing in South Carolina, round number 1, Cooper Jones led the overall for quite a bit of that race, showing great speed. So again, not surprising. We mentioned earlier, a local boy here, runs a lot of the NIOA races and potentially some D6 as well. Again, this is a new facility here, new to GNCC and new to off-road racing. A lot of racing here at Watkins Glen, obviously of the paved variety. But now we're in the woods here, so nobody has really a track advantage, but still, familiar terrain, close to home. A lot of friends and family here can just kind of push you on that little bit more, get the best out of yourself.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Even able to catch up with Grant Davis, talking around a little bit. I know, like we said, not physically living in the state of New York, but still relatively close. And just that confidence and familiarity that we were talking about yesterday with some riders that are close by. Maybe not right on top of it like Hunter Hart was, but Davis saying, yeah, I got some fans, some friends been coming from home to come watch, and it's time to put on a show for them. So Davis definitely looking fired up early in this one as well.
Well, and I don't know if we've really talked about this, but Cooper Jones and Grant Davis actually can ride their dirt bikes to the same, I don't know if it's on Grant's property or Cooper's, but they live so close to each other, they can actually ride to each other's houses to ride together. So they grew up together, very, very close in proximity where they live.
So we were able to catch up with our very own Jordan Ashburn and talk a little bit more about this brand new facility here at Watkins Glen.
Oh, it feels good. You know, it's just kind of where I feel like I belong, just with consistency. And you know, some years like I'm not a guy who wins every single race, so it's like I just want to be there at my bad races and be good at my good races, and you know, try to keep all the in between as good as it can be. And that's easier said than done. Obviously, you know, there's 13 rounds a year, but trying to be your best at every one of them, I mean, it's tough. You have weekends you're sick, you have weekends you feel bad, you have lingering injuries from weeks before, and you have everything. You know, just through a full year of racing, like it's tough. But I'm happy, you know, to be where I'm at right now, especially at this point in my career. I'm one of the older guys here, so it's cool to still be in the front and still be battling for wins and podiums.
Well, there you go. You have it straight from Jordan Ashburn. Talk a little bit more about kind of these previous rounds, more specifically the previous round, not having the result he's won. And he makes a good point. We talk so much. We take it race at a time. The racers love to say it as well. But the overall big picture of the championship, consistency, so much easier said than done because we only get to see them on race day, not to mention the practice sessions, the testing sessions that they're putting on during the week. And Johnny, you can touch on this as a top racer yourself at one point. You know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, the training, the practice, the rock practice. You know, these guys moving around to different states to try to get more used to certain elements. There's a lot that goes into it far beyond what we catch here on Racer TV.
Yeah, and I think, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe there may have been a question asked there, like, hey, what kind of happened at the last round? Because Jordan was up front early. I did hear word after the race, talking to some of the other riders, that he hit the deck multiple times. We never saw that on camera, but we saw him kind of work his way back through the pack and near outside the bottom end of the top 20, ultimately finishing in a 10th place spot, gaining some valuable points to maintain that championship points lead. But the question was, Mr. Consistency, not a consistent round for Jordan Ashburn. But to what you're speaking of, Zach, you know, it's not to make it sound more dramatic than it is, but it's rare as a professional athlete in this sport that you're not riding through some type of, it may not be an injury, but some type of complication. You know, you've got fatigue from training, you've got you know, crashes, you've got all kinds of things going on, and in a long series like this, it starts in February and ends in October. I would venture to say that if these guys were honest, which they never will be, most of them are dealing with something, whether it's just, you know, strained muscles, mental fatigue, or more likely than not, some type of lingering injury throughout the entirety of the season. Really, the only time most of these guys show up healthy is when they start training in, you know, December and January, or really come into their training camps to get ready for the season. And then you're just kind of managing crashes and injuries throughout the rest of the year. It's part of the game.
Yeah, and no doubt about it. And I mean, even hearing rumors there of Jordan Ashburn crashing leading up into that following round as well. I've been trying to catch up with Jordan, maybe even add to be able to confirm that. But just sitting on the starting line before we drop the green flag, Gavin Simon on social media has a massive gash in the palm of one of his hands sustained, I believe, during the week, and is out there doing battle right now. So just like you said, Johnny, none of these guys truly 100%, but still so impressive to watch as you see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all right there, pretty evenly spaced at the moment. And kind of seems like the pace is settled just for a little bit. Be curious to see if these guys pick it up at all. Is Strang trying to get in on this freight train as well?
Yeah, but the pace of the top 5 right now is outpacing the rest of that XC1 class. Now, not quite the rest of that XC2 class, because here in just a moment, you're going to see the reverse number plates, the number 19 of Jack Walker and the number 6 of Gus Rude. Not far behind them is the 226 of Patino. And as you can see by our leaderboard on the left of the screen, those are your top 3 overall in lap number 1. The XC2 boys are on it. No big surprise there. We'll see how that all comes out in the wash here in about another 2.5 hours of racing. But looks like now they've opened up a bit over Tino back there in the number 3 spot. Another one of those riders that was just not quick off the line, was kind of in the back. The good thing for him, unfortunately or fortunately, how you look at it, XC2 class pretty small this weekend. Not a lot of local talent coming in, and there was only 7 riders in that class. So even with the dead last start, he made 2 passes right away and was in the top 5.
Yep.
And guys, a great shot here from our FMF PowerPoint as we see some more of our XC2 riders making their way by, but you can see just how many routes that we have here in New York and how exposed they're becoming. And honestly, this is probably one of our better sections right here.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you come to a new track like this and the ground hasn't been chewed up. Eventually, these routes will actually just kind of get eaten up by wheels and they'll kind of die off. Don't worry, the trees will be fine. They have enough. These are mainly the feeder routes on the top of the ground there, and there's tap routes that go down deeper. So the trees will maintain their health. We're not hurting the forest here, but it definitely does. Those roots will eventually kind of die off and get pulled out of the way as we race here more and more, assuming they use the same trails. But it is challenging because when that top layer of ground gets chewed up, you expose all the elements underneath that when you're pedaling the track on Friday or before the races start on Saturdays. This place is awesome and smooth as anything. Not so smooth out there right now.
No, definitely not, and plenty of rocks to go along here in New York. You can see some of them in this shot, some of our smaller loose rocks, but also having some bigger rocks that are going to be anchored in the ground, leaving some very jagged edges as now we pop back forward. Mike Wachowski, Jordan Ashford, and Grant Davis making their way by.
Man, look at this mechanics corner here as everybody trying to get into position. Nice little line there from Stu Baylor. Ben Kelly picks right up on it as well.
And Baylor has made the pass on Kelly.
Yep.
So Kelly was in the 4th spot, and it was Baylor back there in 5th. But Josh Strang has made up a little ground, and he's bringing Craig along with him. Also, Liam Draper and Caleb Russell. Ryder Lafferty riding very strong here today. Grant Baylor, after that early race bobble, is latched on to the back end of that XC1 field, but so is Jack Walker. So is Gus Reardon. They are right there tagging along and saying, hey, we've got this overall covered on correct time. But again, we have those top 5 riders that have broken away just a bit. What looked like it was starting to be upwards of 10 seconds, now looking more like 5 or 6. So Strang and the rest are putting in a charge to try and catch those leaders.
Yeah, getting word from one of the producers, looked like the jersey of Baylor there, maybe a little ripped up as well. So curious what went into that one, because I believe you were right, Johnny. I thought at one point he was ahead of Ben, lost a spot, and then made his way back. So interesting to see or maybe hear if he makes it up onto the podium what happened there for Baylor.
Well, the Baylor boys like to lean into the trees.
Oh,
they're big boys, especially these small set. Well, that wasn't intentional on the. You can see. Oh, now we're told new leader Grant Davis has made the pass on. Nope. Now the Phoenix Honda. Yeah,
hang on, waiting on confirmation here. Is that?
That looks like
that is
like
Ashburn, and that's Wachowski just behind him, man.
Has transpired there in a very short section of racetrack.
Okay. Yeah, so sounds like a huge shakeup as both of the Phoenix Racing Hondas drop back a couple of positions to now 4th and 5th out of your XC1 class. So a huge shakeup there as they were kind of starting to tag team it up and get away a little bit. Man, wonder
you
what
would almost
happened.
have to venture to guess because they weren't running right together. So even if, Wachowski would have had a miscue, it's not likely it would have affected Ashburn. You almost have to wonder if they missed a section of track and had to turn around and come back, or something transpired there. We're speculating, but for them to lose 3 positions in that short of a section of racetrack, both of them, definitely something out of the ordinary happened there.
So that's how quick things can change here in GNCC. You blink and you'll miss it. now watching along with Stu Baylor as he tries to track down Grant Davis. But yeah, that definitely KTM's gonna be getting some gifts there, and that one gonna move up to first and third.
You see Davis taking a look back there. He sees Stu Baylor and Ben Kelly coming up behind him. I can't help but wonder, Jackson, whether he's looking for the Phoenix Hondas, maybe not even sure whether they're still in front of him or not. Curious to find out if we're able to see what happened there, or even just get a report from somebody out in the woods. But look at this. Looks like company now as Craig DeLong will start putting the pressure on. Is that Josh Strang just in front of him? I believe so.
I was trying to take a look for Mike Witkowski. Maybe that was not Witkowski. I believe that is Reardon making his way through. Right. Maybe that wasn't Witkowski that I caught a glimpse of there. Maybe it was, and something else has transpired. But nonetheless, I did not see Mike Witkowski there in that camera shot. So we're going to try to catch him in our next one. But yeah, as I was saying there with the gift, what I should have said is benefactor, but several benefactors from that. And I do believe that was Witkowski right there. So we'll try to catch now that we got a ground camera here and see exactly what's going on. Make sure he is not going to be in that top 5 anymore.
So ladies, watch out. Stu Baylor riding with sleeves ripping off. He's liable to be shirtless by the end of this one.
Knowing Stu, he very well
may prefer it that way.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He might. Hey, speaking of the weather and being shirtless, a good day out here today as far as the temps go. Not too hot, not too cold here for us, and the sun starting to shine here in the Empire State. So it doesn't get much better than this. The boys really going to be able to let it eat today. Shouldn't be any overheating as far as physicality goes. See, here he is. There's the number 8 of Witkowski now, so he has fell off big time. Going to be just ahead of Jason Tino, our 4th place there in the XC2 division.
So how about that? Things getting interesting here. Has some big shakeups.
That's a tough break for Mike Witkowski.
Yeah, no,
he
without
set
a doubt.
himself up great. Now seeing Johnson making his way by aboard of that Racecraft Husqvarna machine. Seeing who we have making their way towards us here now. That's going to be Josh Toth aboard the Red Bear Rocky Mountain Kawasaki machine.
It would be surprised for Toth to be relatively familiar up here as well. I know calling North Carolina home now, but up from the northeast area.
Following along now with your leader, Grant Davis, as they make their way through some gnarly acceleration bumps right there. Man, this track really starting to get beat up. We talked about it earlier, Zach, at just how rough it was there for our second of the AM races when our WXC, our women's cross-country pro class, came out. And like we always say, the last lap for them is the first lap for these guys. And look at this, Stu Baylor around the outside. Grant Davis says go on. And we've got ourselves a new leader, Stu Baylor, going to take over the top spot. But look at this, Grant Davis, although he might have let him go through, it doesn't look like he's going to want him to stay up there for long.
Yeah, but look at the body language there from Davis, kind of immediately jumping in tow behind Baylor. Got to wonder, we always talk about the way these guys are able to say, hey, somebody's got something figured out behind me. I'm going to sit on them and try to figure it out myself. It seems like Davis, maybe not wanting to ride over his head, not wanting to push the risk factor, says, I'm going to try to jump in behind Stu here and see what he's got going for him, then maybe try to make a pass back. So that could have been a wise decision there from Davis, even though he handed the lead over.
Yeah, we saw that from Stu Baylor at our last race. Of course, Stu taking the big win there at round number 7, and that's the exact same thing that we saw him do and allowing that rider to go, allowing Craig DeLong to go around him for just a minute. Stu said that he caught the lines that Craig was doing. He said last time I heard him say that he was sweeping too wide in the corners, and he noticed what Craig was doing, eventually made his way back around Craig, and ultimately won the race. So Grant Davis very well might have that same strategy going on here.
Man, we always talk about how closely these guys monitor things and how the littlest of details can make the biggest of differences for them, Jackson, especially at this level, the depth of the field. These guys are splitting hairs just to try to find a tenth or a hundredth of a second here or there.
No doubt about it. That can be what wins or loses one of these GNCC races. It's just a tenth of a second here, there, and before you know it, 3 hours of racing, a tenth of a second makes up a lot of time.
So right now, waiting on our lead group to make their way through.
Waiting and watching here. It looks like we don't have to wait long. Stu Baylor on screen. Grant Davis in the number 2 spot. Ben Kelly holding strong there in 3rd, putting a good charge. Looking like he's feeling pretty strong today. And a couple of KTM riders up front. We are joined in the booth now with Hans Kalnin, KTM Group Manager. KTM, well, you can give your official title, but it's getting to that time where we start talking about some races overseas. Obviously, we have the ISD coming up after the summer break, but before that, we have the ISD fundraising golf tournament coming up at Snowshoe in just 3 weeks. I believe you're with us today to talk a little bit about ISD, the teams, who's going, maybe some riders we're seeing on screen, and a little bit about the upcoming golf tournament.
Yeah, so hey, thanks for having me, Johnny and Zach. Yeah, it's that time of the year. We're gearing up not only for the golf tournament in Snowshoe, which is always a sold-out great event, but we're 4 months out from the actual event. So it's that time of the year that I'm in the studio once a year to really announce the team. So
who do we have racing for the USA this year when we head over Portugal?
Yeah, Portugal. We've had a great success in Portugal last time. In 19, we actually won the trophy team championship there. So we're looking forward to returning. Well. Yeah, women's team, yes. So and we have some exciting news for the team this year. So we have a couple regulars returning. We have Johnny Giroir and Dante Oliveira from West Coast. They're returning for the trophy team, and then Grant Davies, who's now on a win hunt here today with Stu. So he's actually bumping up from the junior team to the trophy team. That's a really welcome move for him and for the team. And then I'm really looking forward to Stu Baylor returning. So he's going to be the rider to complete the 4-man team, and he's there battling with Grant just as we speak. So
and Stu was on that winning team in 2019 in Portugal.
Yes. So hopefully it's a good team and good recipe for success, and we're really looking forward. There's a couple changes. Sometimes you need some changes and team dynamics, and really I think this year we have all the right ingredients for the trophy team to be successful and get back on top. So we'll see what the guys can do, and then for a junior team, we have fairly young team. It is strategically built that we're really starting to groom new young riders. We have Justin Jones, Cooper Jones, who was over time
doing very well. Currently running near inside the top 5 overall. So obviously showing some speed.
Yeah. And then we have Jason Tino, who's also up there running up front. He had a bad start, but I see him climbing up on the rank. And then we have all new rider to 6 days that will be looking forward to welcoming him is Toby Cleveland. So he's also a GNCC regular, but he's doing extremely well in the sprint enduro racing this year.
Actually, winning the overall last weekend.
Yes. So he actually proved his spot in the team just based on the pure sprint speed. So we're really looking forward to all those trophy and junior guys.
Maybe looking forward to some Stu Baylor wheelies.
Some wheelies, yeah. That's a great shot there. He's there's actually a couple guys right there on the front that we're looking forward to getting them on. That's actually BK on Stu now. But yeah, so and women team, we had couple racing this morning. Brandy Richards obviously returning, and Corey Steed and Rachel Goody. So the team remains the same. They were dominant last year, and I'm really looking forward to keeping that team together, winning team. So there's no changes there, but really looking forward to this guy, Stu Baylor, coming back to the 6 days team and see what he can do.
Well, Antti, with the golf tournament coming up here in just 3 weeks, I know you said sold out already, or?
Not sold out yet. It usually sells out a week before, and we're right on track on the same thing. So if you are planning on playing, I would highly recommend getting online and signing up. There's a link at the GNCC website, and easy to just sign up online and secure your spot. But it's always a great event, sold out. 144 players is the max we can have, and we have great sponsors this year on board as well, and it's a good time. You can win a truck, you can win different bikes and the hole-in-one prizes. So really looking forward. I think you're playing there. I saw your name on the list, Johnny.
Yep, I'll be out there hacking it up, try to do my best to try to contribute to the team.
Yeah.
But that said, it's always a good time. I know there's a lot of ways that folks at home or here at the races can support various efforts for ISD. So ISD, obviously, we've mentioned the 3 trophy teams, the World Trophy, the Women's World Trophy, and then the Junior Trophy team. But there's also a host of club riders that do fundraising efforts to go to ISD as well. It's all part of the Team USA ISDE effort. I know a lot of t-shirts being sold, so anybody at home looking to kind of be a part of it, you can also, hey, if you want to go to Portugal, you can volunteer, you can come over to Team USA, can always use some help. Somehow it seems like a quad guy got roped into doing some chase riding, and I believe I'll be in Portugal as well. So it's a great time, a great way to support U.S. off-road racing and AMA US ISDE team. Anything else for us on ISDE, Antti? I know it's getting close. I'm sure the containers are already packing and getting ready to ship overseas.
Yeah, everything is getting packed. Bikes are getting filled as the team is getting ready, and things are shipping out beginning of August. So usually 2 months before the race is in October this year. So we have 2 months to get everything buttoned up here on the home soil, and then we'll ship the containers out and be ready then to next time open the doors of the container and ready to race.
Well, perfect. There you go, folks. That's the USA ISD. Well, hold on. Don't leave yet. We got some more questions for you. But if you want to support those efforts, you can come out and golf at Snowshoe. There's still a few foursomes available. I believe also if you don't have a foursome, you can email in as well, and you can potentially put together a foursome if somebody's looking to play. But is that correct? If they just have 1 or 2 people, generally you can get them a spot?
Yes, yeah. If you don't have a foursome, you can sign up as an individual, and we have always individuals sign up, and then we'll pair them, and they have a great time. Get to know new people and enjoy a round of golf. So absolutely,
and a very beautiful course there, the Ravenswood at Snowshoe. It's one of the best courses in the state of West Virginia. Very challenging. Don't expect to have a good score unless you have a very sharp pencil. There's always questions about the legitimacy of the scores, but it's for a good cause, and it's a great time, and it is a very beautiful course. Shifting the kind of focus to the action on screen, obviously you've got 2 riders up near the front right now, and Jason Tino up inside a podium position in XC2 as well. Any insight for us on any inside information on anything you could share with us? Now that we got you in here, we'll put your feet to the flame. Pit strategies, are we going with a 2-pit strategy today? What are we thinking as far as how this race is going to shape up?
I think pit strategy, I think it'll be just 1 pit, depending on kind of like the lap times, and I'm sure every team manager and crew chiefs are there calculating all those carefully. But I must say that anytime it's a new track, we went a couple years ago to Talladega, and Stu really showed that he's really good at new tracks. So Grant better hold on to Stu as long as he can, because I feel like Stu excels on new tracks. So those Stu, Grant probably will be up front all day unless something really happens and someone else will come through the pack. But you can't count anyone out. Jordan Ashburn is one that actually always does well when it's Rudy and rocky. This isn't as rocky as other places, but there's a lot of routes.
So, and not speaking necessarily for your riders, we have had a big shakeup there in XC2. I just did see on screen. Gus Reardon still very much in the mix there, up with those XC1 riders, and it looked to me that Jack Walker had dropped back quite a bit of time there, and he's now almost fallen back into the grasp of Jason Tino. But you mentioned Grant, you mentioned Stu. Ben Kelly riding very strong here today. Any update on his condition? He kind of shared that he had an injury that was maybe not misdiagnosed but misunderstood coming into our last round. He managed to soldier through for an 8th place, but running very strong here today in the number 2 spot.
Yeah, it's one of those injuries that time heals, and there is no shortcut in, you just need more time. His ribs are pretty good. I'm interested to see how his shoulder holds up. That's the one thing that as you start getting into the 2nd hour, 3rd hour, that's where the, shoulder injury like what he has is going to be starting to kind of wear more. The ribs are, pretty much healed. There's maybe a little bit he still feels it, but I don't think that's going to affect him riding unless he hits something with his chest. But the shoulder is something that we're obviously the team is keeping an eye on, and kind of he's just gonna, there's nothing, he just got to soldier through and see how far he can make it.
Well, soldiering through quite strongly at the moment, running in the number 2 spot, and actually in that camera shot putting pressure on Stu Baylor for the lead, and he's very much in the mix for this championship fight right now. So valuable points to be had here today for Ben Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, valuable points for everyone. I mean, it's still in it's everyone's championship still at this point. So anything can happen, and we're at round 8, so everyone is fighting really starting to start fighting those wins, and it's a significant points gain, if you get that win and 5 more points on your competitors. So definitely we'll see everyone fighting for the win today.
Well, it's certainly going to be fun to watch here as things really getting fired up. Once again, we see the XC2 jump up to the top 3 overall, but how are things going to shake up at the top of the XC1 field is now Stu Baylor, who you see on screen just there, gets passed by Ben Kelly. So Ben Kelly now actually steals away that XC1 lead with Stu Baylor and Grant Davis right behind. Well, this is it, Watkins Glen. We've had it circled on the calendar all year long, and we're finally here, and some of the heavy hitters, the favorites, are up front early as Stu Baylor, after a terrible start, works his way through the pack and ends up bringing the fight right to Grant Davis, who is hanging tough inside the top 3 for the moment. But Ben Kelly, the Diesel as we like to call him, is starting to get warmed up. Stu Baylor's already looking pretty loose, as you can see, but Ben Kelly just stole the lead away from him. How's it all going to shake out? We'll find out when we come back. More with GNCC right here on Racer TV.
Don't let waiting in line for service sideline your machine. Eliminate the wait and save money by doing it yourself. AMSOIL makes it simple with oil change kits that include exactly what you need in one convenient package. Choosing the right kit is also simple. Just plug your ride into the Shop by Vehicle tool at AMSOIL.com and have your kit delivered right to your door. Get the protection you demand and the performance you deserve. Order now at AMSOIL.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the beautiful AMSOIL Watkins Glen GNCC here in Watkins Glen, New York. As you can see, the racing, not just the only thing worth coming to check out here in the area. An absolutely beautiful facility, not just in kind of the surrounding town and area, but even right here on the same property as we share hallowed ground with the Watkins Glen International Raceway. And our very own Jared Bolton was able to get us a little VIP tour.
All right, everybody, Jared Bolton here. Welcome to Watkins Glen International. We're going to take a lap around the actual racetrack here. It's going to be really, really cool. And you know what? We're going to talk a little bit about the history of this place. Opened up in 1956. NASCAR came here the first time in 57. Well, guess what? It's 2026. Now GNCC's here. Oh, that's a little bit different than what we got behind us. But let's see what we're missing out on while we're out in the woods. All right, we've made our way over to the famous S's section of the racetrack here at Watkins Glen. This is probably one of the most infamous parts of the racetrack here. You look at it, it drops down the valley, then it goes straight up the hill, back and forth. 40 feet of elevation change. May not sound like a lot by some GNCC standards, but guess what? That's like us coming up the mountain at snowshoe when you compare it to auto racing. Really cool section here, and you can see where the track's grooved in. These guys are hugging the inside, back across the other side of the track, back across again. Really cool section here, and guess what? These guys are absolutely hauling the mail up this thing. Once those guys get out of the S's, they're headed up the backstretch, wide open. I clocked one of those IMSA cars at 172 the other day coming around here. Really super fast section, and guess what? You're going from wide open to down on the binders, locking it down, hitting these insides of the chicane. Watkins Glen calls it an inner loop. Yeah, dirt bikers, we're gonna call it a chicane. We know what it is. Really awesome section here, always a fan favorite, and you can see how hard these cars hit. Get on the rumble strips, bottom out on the pavement, back on the rumble strips again. Always a fan favorite over on this side of the racetrack. This is where the track splits. IMSA, some of the other sports car type races, they go this way, go down into the boot. Guess what? We're racing down off beside the boot. Literally, I can hear people riding their e-bikes down on our racetrack right here. NASCAR, they actually go this way And guess what? Those guys are freaking hauling the mail coming from the chicane down around this piece, headed up that way. And the guys that are going and riding the boot, I can't imagine dropping off this elevation change at the speed those guys do. Absolutely awesome. People think we're crazy. Man, some of these race car drivers are crazy. Once you come out of the boot, or if you're the NASCAR guys, you're coming straight, you're headed over here, turns 10 and 11. 11's a really hard right-hander turn. And if you're going into the pits, you gotta get tight on the binders because that pit stop, it's right there just immediately to you. And for NASCAR guys, it's a passenger side pit stop. Totally different than what they do at any other racetrack. For some of the guys that race sports cars, you see that here and there. But NASCAR's a really odd, really comes into play for those guys, kind of adds some, well, let's call it technique, strategy come into play. But guess what? If you're not worried about the pit stop, head around for another lap. The finish line straight ahead of that, looking for that checkered flag, and you know where you're headed next. That's a lap around the world famous Watkins Glen International. And once you get to this point, where do you go? Of course you're gonna go to Victory Lane. We're gonna spray some champagne over here. Who's got it?
All right, so here we go. Taking a look, there is Jordan Ashburn, Liam Draper, Craig DeLong, Ryder Lafferty, Josh Strang. There is Caleb Russell as well. So jumping right into a freight train of XC1 riders. Grant,
is this the 15 freeway coming out of Los Angeles?
Yeah, no kidding, right? Everybody
talk about lapped riders. We talk about these record turnouts or potential near record turnouts. Well, this is the byproduct of that. We have got lapped riders everywhere.
And so this is a little flashback. I believe this was right before we went to break, seeing the pass for the lead. Ben Kelly stalking. We saw him get around Grant Davis, and then right there, really quick, aggressive move. Not aggressive, but just a really quick, decisive move there from Ben Kelly. Didn't look like a ton of fight there from Stu Baylor either, but once again, normally Ben Kelly, we see that pace start to pick up maybe an hour and a half in. Seems like the fires are burning early on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And we heard Stu mention at the last round when Craig DeLong and Liam Draper seemed to have a little bit more pace than he did. He said, hey, those guys obviously had some good lines. They had a flow figured out that I didn't. I was able to learn from that and regroup and put into charge at the end of the race. So maybe that's Stu's plan again here today.
And did get reports, sounds like things kind of just coincidentally going wrong for both of the Phoenix Honda boys. A crash there for Wachowski, and it sounds like maybe just kind of a miscue like we suspected there for Jordan Ashburn, potentially missing a corner or something. Still waiting on 100% confirmation, but good to see both of those riders at least back up in the mix and still circulating.
And looking at the overall running there, order on the left of the screen, we see a whole bunch more gray there down near the bottom. A bunch of our 250A riders now up into the top 20 overall, and only 5 XC2 riders in the top 20, but 4 of those riders in the top 6 overall in Gus Reardon, Jack Walker, Jason Tino, and Brody Johnson. Absolutely ripping here early on in this one from that XC2 class.
Just saw Josh Toth making his way by. Yep. Toth, the rider, I feel like has had a string of bad luck, having just different stuff happening at different races. But here we go, back up to the front of the pack. The #1 machine still going to be leading the way, but Stu Baylor, he has the tow rope out, and he is following right along.
Do you notice the casual riding style there from Stu Baylor, just kind of chilling, standing up? I really think this is just an opportunity for him to kind of get the heart rate down, maybe shake out some arm pump if he had it. Now we're back to the 4th place ride of Ashburn now. And in 5th place, Liam Draper. 6th place, Craig DeLong. 7th place, Ryder Lafferty. Caleb Russell, 8th. Josh Strang, 9th. Grant Baylor, 10th. And your overall leader and first in XC2, Gus Reardon. And look at that. Now, Jack Walker back to the rear wheel of Gus Reardon after what looked like a miscue there, losing about 10 seconds in an earlier camera shot there after leading early on. So Jack Walker back on a charge and back in the mix for the overall lead and lead in that XC2 Pro Lights class.
Be a big day here for Angus if he is able to hold on to this lead. As we see now, Mike Wachowski making his way by what was our early leader here to get things started, and has Jason Tino following along just behind him. But yeah, as I was saying, Angus has mom out here. I got to see her just a little while ago, so I'm sure that is definitely a big thing for him.
That's Ben Kelly out front, and Stu Baylor looking like he was just cruising in that last camera shot. Well, he is not in this camera shot. Now it's Grant Davis to the #2 spot. So another shakeup in, I believe, is this the same section of racetrack?
I think it is.
Huge shakeup. Where is Stu Baylor? There he is.
So something tricky in that section of racetrack. And Stu Baylor losing not only a position, but quite a bit of time to our leader, Ben Kelly.
Johnny, we talked about the lap riders just a minute ago. Stu Baylor having a casual riding style. A lot of those lap riders being very casual as they were making their way through. So I'm sure that the boys are having a hard time with some of these sections, you know, really going into some narrow, tight sections that we saw really playing some tricks on our ATVs. Here on the two-wheel side of thing, it's not going to be much different. They might have a little bit more room to work with, but not a whole lot.
Well, and on top of that, if I was to bet any of these riders willing to maybe thread the needle a little bit, shoot the gap, it's going to be Stu Baylor. And sometimes when it works, it can be great. Puts a lap rider, if not a couple, between you and your competition. But when it doesn't, could be why we're seeing this gap grow to exactly what it is right there. Yamaha Racing Live Drill doing a great job of showing you the distance now needed to be made up to the number 1 of Ben Kelly. And there is Grant Davis getting cheered on by a fan.
I tell you what, I'm interested to see if we can get a good shot of Stu Baylor.
I agree.
To me, something looked off. In that first camera shot, he was just casually riding right on the rear wheel of Ben Kelly. And then the last couple shots, they've been drone shots, so they're high up, but he seems to be making mistakes. And it might just be a sense of urgency, really pushing the pace, trying to close the gap back up. But it looked like he kind of was sideways in the trail at one point, and
he's looking down at the machine. He has stopped now.
Oh, wow.
So Stu Baylor.
Gabe going to try to get in there for us.
Let's see.
Stop by one of the pit crew.
Maybe, honestly, it may have been like a stick wedged in there as well. How many times have we seen that throughout the weekend, Jackson? So many different limbs sticking
and so many vines out here. Big, thick vines, bigger than some of the trees that you see right here on screen.
All right, so there we got an update. Don't know exactly what it was, but it looked like one of the Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC team members dislodging something, or at least attending to something on Stu Baylor's machine. And when the way he took off, it seemed like at least he felt like the issue had been addressed. But now he has got a sizable gap to make up to Grant Davis in the number 2 spot and Ben Kelly out front. And we'll see just what that gap is here in a moment.
Number 1 and number 2 sitting in the first and second place spot right now as we wait to see Stu Baylor come through and get a static shot here and see if we can see anything wrong with this machine.
And now Liam Draper right to the rear wheel.
Draper getting around Ashburn as well.
Stu does look like he's picked his speed back up.
He better, because if not, he's going to slip outside the top 5, if not further than that. Look at this.
With all those behind him, he'll be in trouble if he can't stay on the throttle. That was just about our whole group right there.
Yeah, so the whole group come through all the way back to, I believe, Grant Baylor there. We did see Ryder Lafferty, we did see Caleb Russell, we did see Liam Draper. So we're all the way back to about the 14th or 15th place overall. And Stu Baylor just in front of them. Here comes Jason Tino. Yes, he's showing in 3rd overall. Ooh, a little wild moment there for Tino. Legs off, and it just kind of got the skis out there. Mike Rakowski still trying to recover from whatever his issue was dropped a bunch of time, and now it looks like maybe Brody Johnson up into, no, sorry, still 4th there, just behind Tino at the 6.5 mile marker.
Back to the Yamaha Racing Live drone we go. One of the beautiful scenic shots there is now going to zoom in and try to grab a glimpse of our leaders. And there is Ben Kelly on the charge. You see just how choppy it is right there, and then typical BK, so intelligent with the line selections, getting out, really getting the grip down to the ground and cutting in early some of these corners.
I'm curious to see what that gap is back now to Stu Baylor in 3rd. We'll see if we get a shot to stay here long enough. There is Kelly leading the way. Davis in the number 2 spot. We know Stu Baylor, if you're just joining us, just having some type of an issue out there, pulling to the side of the trail after losing positions and losing time, seeming like his riding was kind of changing up. It looked like maybe a stick or something dislodged from the machine. Look back, these are a whole bunch of lapped riders that now Baylor and the rest are going to have to navigate. Ben Kelly and Grant Davis have already made it through those lapped riders, and now Stu Baylor on screen. Man, I tell you what, by my calculation, we're looking at about 20-some-odd seconds back there. Liam Draper just behind him there in the number 4 spot. Jordan Ashburn, Craig DeLong, Caleb Russell, Rodney Lafferty, Josh Strang, Grant,
Angus
Baylor,
Reardon,
Gus Reardon, Jack Walker, the whole crew. Whew. They're bringing the caboose with them.
Yeah, and as far as our overall charts go, it's possible that our top two there, Ben Kelly and Grant Davis, might break away. But for the rest of the crew, that XC2 pack is, or at least our top two from the XC2, going to be right there. So as far as time goes, they're definitely going to have the advantage.
Well, and I tell you what, Ben Kelly, he does not seem interested in a table for two. He is trying to break away at the moment and kind of doing it little by little. It seems like every second camera shot, there's about a bike length or so that's been made up. It looked like in one of those last few camera shots, Grant got held up just a little bit. Not sure whether there was some KTM staff there, whether he was communicating something or what, but that was probably 2 to 3 bike lengths right there. And yeah, Ben Kelly certainly not holding anyone up here at the front of the field.
Now, Ben Kelly making tracks out front, starting to open up a bit of a gap. Teammate there in the number 2 spot. And here he is. Wow, and just like that,
rebounded
Grant Davis
it right back
to his rear wheel. Davis, so much speed. We've seen that the last several years. It's like when he puts his head down, he just makes up ground very, very quickly. And we'll see what Stu Baylor can do after an unfortunate chain of events here over the last couple miles. Was in the lead, gave the lead up to Ben Kelly, and on just a pass from Kelly, and then Stu Baylor looking like he was just kind of cruising, comfortable there behind Kelly, and then stopping at one of his team members on the side of the trail. And he is now back in that number 3 spot with Liam Draper just behind him, and here comes the rest of the train.
Yeah, I think the problem is these guys are so good at pacing off one of another is now Stu's going to have to essentially drag this whole group up to that top 2 duo rather than Stu being kind of flying solo by himself. But yeah, we'll see whether or not I got to wonder whether or not the lappers have something to do with the amount of yo-yoing we're seeing at the front of this field as well. We've heard it and talked about it earlier today, Jackson. You don't just catch one, it seems like. These riders group up in about 5 to 10 at a time, and sometimes it could be at the worst possible moment.
Yeah, like what we talked about there in our AM race, it's funny how it happens. You'll go so long as Tino makes his way by. You'll see 1, 2, 3 riders coming through, and then all of a sudden there'll be such huge gaps there of no riders, and then 30, 40 riders will come through back to back to back. So hopefully none of our pro riders will have to be dealing with those big group of lap riders, but I'm sure that they will.
Well, we spoke about this during the broadcast yesterday. A lot of these riders, visiting riders, don't normally race GNCC, whether they be District 6 riders, just New England area riders that have come down here to New York, or Iowa riders. You know, they have a lot of fat local riders, and sometimes some of the top GNCC pros do go and campaign different rounds of those series. But it is a big change for these riders, the pace of the top XC1 riders. They push their way through, and you can see a lot of these. Normally, you can tell the Iowa riders because a lot of them have 4-digit plates, not seeing a lot of those. We're seeing some colors we're not as accustomed to in this race in terms of the background, meaning we have a lot of riders here just kind of doing the day pass thing with GNCC. So they're getting a baptism out there right now as the leaders are charging their way through the woods in what sounds like a freight train coming their way.
Yeah, I got to talk to some of the riders that race in that Iowa series and saying it was very similar to what they're used to racing, but at the same time, very different here at GNCC, and I'm sure not quite. We talk about how they have some fast riders. I'm sure not quite as many as what we're going to have here at GNCC. That is a big freight train of pro riders coming through.
The depth of the field here, again, there's a lot of fast riders everywhere you go these days, but the depth of how many riders are going that speed here is really the difference. Leaders on screen, Ben Kelly leading the way, and Grant Davis in the number 2 spot.
Well, Ben Kelly trying to drown out the noise here, focus on what he needs to get done. And we're not just talking the noise of the haters or the doubters. You can actually hear cars out on the Watkins Glen International Racetrack. And we were able to talk with Ben and a couple of our riders about what it's like to hear those machines out on course while you're trying to race.
Yeah, it's cool. I like the facility, the town. And yeah, like you said, we race at Talladega, but here we race like right next to the racetrack. And like you were saying, I was out mountain biking the track today, and yeah, you hear the rumble of the cars, whether they're racing or doing practice or what. But yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, I hope it goes well and we can come back.
It's super cool. You know, it's cool to be that close to a racetrack. You know, I don't know what mile marker it is, but we get pretty damn close to the racetrack out there in the woods. So it's cool, and you know, it's good that GNCC have found these new locations for us and put in the effort to give us a new place to race at. It's good.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Just the experience of being here. It's a huge event. There's been a lot of people here through the gates this weekend, and just out riding the track and stuff. It's pretty awesome to hear just the race cars. You know, all day you're just hearing race cars just burning laps on the track, and it's pretty cool. I know I wouldn't have ever thought we'd have been here racing dirt bikes. I think a few But one of the years at Odessa, we were up here, we was out driving around, and we drove up here and watched some cars racing, and I mean, that's been 7 or 8 years ago now, and wouldn't have dreamed we'd have been racing here, you know, in the future. So I think it's cool, it's good for the sport, and to see it turn out this good is really awesome.
Ooh, how about that, Zach? Ooh. On the screen, we had quite the battle going on there. Grant Davis running it through the outside, trying to make a move on Ben Kelly, finds himself over in the banners, but able to keep it up on 2 wheels and keep it rolling.
Yeah, that was a big one. Obviously, very excited to hear that, you know, just how pumped up our top riders are to be at some of these new locations. We'll take a replay. So watch this. Ben Kelly and Grant Davis into the KTM pits, like some NASCAR pit crews here. You can almost hear them going at it. I think some of the pit crews are here watching, actually, to see how it's really done. Here at GNCC is almost identical. Little hesitation or problem there for Kelly out of the pits. Davis tries to capitalize around the outside, but he goes just a little too deep, almost takes out the American flag, but Grant Davis would never do that. He turned it back just in time and still hangs on to that number 2 spot like the good American he is.
Hey, it bounced him right off. That worked perfect for him.
And they are going right back to it, so Davis, man, you can see it. He saw an opportunity and was right there to try to capitalize. So Davis certainly not out of this for the moment. We kind of been talking about this yo-yoing right there. Curious what Kelly was doing there. Almost seemed like a lever adjustment there via Tech 10 or so.
That'll happen sometimes. You'll see those guys kick their levers to try to bring the clutch lever up or the brake lever, depending which side it is. But you know, Grant Davis, he kind of saw that opportunity and went for it. And I got to believe, at least in part, that may be the fact that when they're out in these fields, there's a lot of dust kicking up. We've talked about this so many times before from the drone. Yeah, clear vision. But when you're actually, that was a close call there for Grant Davis. That happens probably about 150 times a lap. We just happen to catch it on camera. But that dust right there that Grant Davis is riding through is quite a bit thicker. You can see him kind of favoring the insides and the outsides, trying to square Ben Kelly up and stay out of his dust just like he is there. Not only to have an open running room to try and make the pass, but also when your vision's limited like that, it just puts you in such a kind of more tense riding style because you can't see the bumps you're hitting. But right now, Grant Davis absolutely looks like he wants to wrestle away that point position from Ben Kelly.
Going to see if we can take a closer look at the pit stop of Ben Kelly, figure out what went on there. I'm not sure. So we've got him headed into, and this will be nice, Jackson. We got a side view of it. So Kelly coming in and watch at the exit there. I'm taking a look. I mean, as far as I can tell, clutch lever and everything looks fine. Maybe just an adjustment he had been meaning to make and wasn't able to. Little hesitation there, right? Almost like the bike didn't quite fire right off. But still not really clear as far as what he would have been kicking or why.
Yeah, as far as Grant Davis goes, though, they're battling it out. He's looking very racy to me. He was able to rocket around some of those outsides. So Ben Kelly better stop adjusting and focus forward, as it looks like Grant Davis is on the move.
Saw Cooper Jones in the KTM pits there as well. Looked like he was getting ready to communicate as well. And taking a look now, sounds like Josh Strang may be on the move forward, is potentially picking up a couple of spots as well. So could this be a big day for the Liqui-Moly Factory Beta?
Up into the number 3 spot.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's gotten around Stu Baylor from what we're being told. So that is a big move for the former series champion and also team manager of that Factory Liqui-Moly Beta team as well. Cody Barnes not with us this weekend, injured at our Kentucky round, working his way back to full health. There we see Jason Tino and looks like Mike Bukowski on screen, our early race leader. Back to the battle at the front. It's the FMF Red Bull KTM teammates of Ben Kelly and Grant Davis. Kind of a cool shot there.
Yeah,
number 1 and 2, running number 1 and 2. But look at this. Liam Draper has made up some serious ground up into the number 3 spot.
And that's Stu Baylor.
There.
I was thinking that Strang would have had to have gotten around Ashburn and Draper as well. So now we're seeing Russell. So no, it is now Liam Draper in that number 3 spot. There we see Josh Strang. So Strang still got some work to do in that XC1 class to be up in that number 3 spot.
Guys, the XC2 class, they are advancing up physically through this XC1 pack. They're continuing to chip away at it, and that's only going to help them as we continue on into this race. Of course, just an hour and 18 minutes into what's going to be approximately a 3-hour race here for this one, but nonetheless, the boys are working their way through, and on overall adjusted time, that is going to be a big deal here in this one.
No doubt about it. So we thought the first part of this race was exciting as we start to enter the mid-section of this 3-hour-long race.
Talk about amateur riders going for a ride.
I must have missed it.
He saved it.
We'll see if we get a replay. I didn't see it, but man, just goes to show.
I'd like to know. I don't know if he saved it.
No, he saved it. Yeah.
Okay.
The back end kicked out on a crew route. We could read the side plates on his machine, even though we were shooting directly behind him. It was full kick out to the side there. See, right there.
Man.
That's what happened.
That's the exact same rut.
Yep.
It's getting them.
We say it all the time. These guys make it look easy, and these other riders are no slouches either. They're some of the best in your local series that you're going to be able to find, but it's just a different breed out here at the top of GNCC. Well, things are certainly exciting as we continue on here in this race.
Yeah, don't make no mistake about it. Even though it might be approximately a 3-hour-long race, you are still gave out after an hour and 20 minutes of it. And, Zach, this has been a good one so far.
No doubt about it. Ben Kelly, Stu Baylor, Grant Davis, all having their share of the lead. Not to mention the Phoenix Honda boys on the charge back from some early misfortunes. But Ben Kelly looking oh so solid. Little hiccup there in that pit, and had to have the kid flash up to him, keep him on his toes. But Ben Kelly staying calm here at the front. Grant Davis now going to go back to work, take some notes, see if he can figure out how to put his teammate behind him. And we're going to watch every single bit of it when we come back right here on Racer TV.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to beautiful Watkins, Glen, New York, site of round number 8, the AMSOIL Watkins Glen GNCC. We're joined here in the Racer TV studio by Joel Grover. Now, Joel, you were just telling me about the 10th annual Northeast 24, the NE24. Is that the right title of it?
You got it, man. It's awesome. It's been around. This is the 10th year, obviously, and we're so excited to have it back at the Seneca Highlands location, which is where GNCC was last up here. I'm trying to think, was it just around COVID?
2019,
2019.
Just before.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah, it's only about, I would say, probably literally 10 miles from here. It's literally almost can see it out the end of the trailer to the ridge to our east.
Now, tell me a little bit more about, obviously, 24 hours of racing, the 10th annual one as well. It sounds like it continues to get bigger and bigger. I know Don Hampton and family has participated in that one. I think they might have won it. And he was just, you saw that little subtle brag in there?
Well, 2 years ago, he got second because I know that because I was on the winning team.
Okay, all right. You got to keep him in check. So.
Yeah, well, Don, you can come out, we can dispute that, but I'm telling you it's true. But, so it's a relay race for most teams. So most amateur events, the riders that come, by the way, 900 riders signed up right now. We're still a month and a half away. So it's about 220 teams, roughly about 50 try to solo it, though. We call them Iron Men or Iron Women.
No kidding.
It's insane. We're like, literally, try to think about basically racing a hare scramble for 24 hours.
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, so listen, most teams are 6-man teams, and, you know, guys go out for an hour and a half at a time, and then the next guy will go out, which is generally 3 laps on a 30-minute lap time. So, yeah, long story short, it's the most fun you'll do if you've ever wanted to race your bike or ride your bike at dark. How about 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning? It's insane. It's so fun. I got to tell you, the first time I did it was probably 7 years ago. I think it was the 3rd one, and I was hooked right from then on. Literally after 24 hours, our team won by 1/10 of a second.
Wow.
1/10 of a second. Came out of the woods neck and neck.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, just to say, stretch it out, you would think you'd have a half-hour lead.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Depends. Sometimes they're super tight.
Well, it sounds like quite the depth there as well. We talk about it out here after 3 hours of battles. It comes down to a fraction of a second. Sounds like 24 hours. They can go the distance as well. Now, it takes place from July 18th and into the 19th. If people listening in here on Racer TV and Flow Racing, if they want to get on top of it and get into it, where do they go?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So our website is www. I don't think we need that anymore, by the way. Northeast24.com. So cool. Northeast24.com. You know, obviously the goal here is to kind of just bring awareness to it. Our goal would be ultimately to get some bigger teams involved. You know, get the big names of the sport that come out and go, dude, I want to do this. This is a bucket list item, and it is for a lot of amateur riders. Like, I got to do this year. This is the year I'm going to do it. So it's tons of fun.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the 24-hour races myself. There's actually one going on in Georgia right now with some of the GNCC racers that are a little too far for them to travel to New York, and that they've been posting about it like crazy, having an absolute blast. And I'm sure here in the beautiful state of New York, it'll be even that much better.
Well, listen, that's the Perry Mountain crew, and they're down in Alabama. They were the originator. One of the guys that from up this way rode that event maybe 11 years ago, came back and said, we got to do one of these. This is going to be so cool. So we all have talked. There's a 3rd one out in Texas called the Gut Buster. So we're the NE24. We've got Perry Mountain in Alabama, Gutbuster in Texas. We're all kind of talking, because if we get enough on this, maybe we'll kind of hook them together.
Maybe a little series in the future.
Who knows? Who's crazy enough to want to do that 3 times? But we're talking about it, so it's a lot of fun.
No doubt about it. What do you think, Jackson? 12 and 12? We got it?
Yeah, we might need another teammate.
We could maybe do 12 announcing, but yeah, I don't know about riding. We see our very own Joey Nachi making his way through now. Oh, no doubt about it. I'd put him on our team any day of the week.
Oh, yeah. Good
now,
luck to take him.
Here at Watkins Glen, obviously been enjoying the weekend. So great to have GNCC racing back here in New York, right?
Listen, I'm telling you, I've been wanting in the back of my head to bring GNCC up here. I'm so glad. I was talking to Tim Cotter earlier today about how this kind of all came about. I had spoken with him 10 years ago about bringing a hare scramble up here, one of our local Niola events. And it was just too much of a facility for what we were bringing as far as rider base. I'm so glad they're here. Listen, I'm a Watkins Glen native. I drive my sports car, my BMW, out here on the track.
I love it.
I'm so hooked. I love this place. I'm glad to show it off. I'm glad you guys are all here enjoying my world, my backyard, literally. So it's very cool.
Well, we certainly are. Well, Joel, thanks so much for stopping in. Once again, guys, Northeast24.com. If you want to get on board with the 10th annual NE24, that's the place to do it, Northeast24.com.
Thanks, dude.
Absolutely. So back to the racing action, Jackson. We've got some big shakeups here in this one.
We have got a huge shakeup going on right now. So your new leader going to be Grant Davis. Right behind him is going to be Liam Draper. Well, a few bike links behind him is going to be Liam Draper. And then it's Ben Kelly, who was leading the last time we saw Zach. So it's Davis, Draper, Kelly, then Stu Baylor. He is right there. The jersey's ripped. He's still charging forward, sitting in the 4th place, and things are definitely tightening up at the front of the field.
I tell you what, Jackson, it just seems like around this same time, early 4 miles of every lap, your leader makes a mistake of some kind. I don't know what it is. There's some kind of magic voodoo in one spot or something, but I mean, am I wrong? It just seems like every time somebody gets out front, we don't quite catch it, and then there's just this unexplained big difference where they don't usually just drop out of the lead. They're a couple positions back.
Yeah, Zach, we see it happen. It's kind of like the mysterious Seneca Lake drums that we hear. We don't know what it is, but it's going on.
No doubt about it. And hanging here at the FMF PowerPoint, we'll see if we can get a reshake as far as what the top of the field looks like. But man, look at that. We heard about the routes. It's so nice. Jackson, we spent all day over at the finish line, and it's so cool to be able to see these race for TV cameras, be able to see the detail and the difficulty that these riders have been talking about all weekend long.
Zach, we're getting fired up now, and as I take a look up at our race clock, still just now getting to the halfway point, so not even to the halfway point technically yet. An hour and 28 minutes into what is going to be approximately 3-hour race. For all we know, might go a few minutes under, or Zach, it might go a few minutes over, as we see your leader making his way by on screen. And Liam Draper being in the 2nd place spot, Zach, that could be a big shakeup for the KTM boys. Liam Draper, he might be due for a good finish here at this one.
Well, and I tell you what, I've been having Liam Draper circled on my list all weekend long. This is a big weekend for him, and he didn't have the start that he needed either. So to be able to see him pick riders off, he was right there with his teammate who we just saw, Caleb Russell, currently in the 9th place spot overall. And let's see, I believe 6th physically in that XC1 class, and has been able to work up now to the number 2 spot. Liam Draper is going to be one to watch, and we were able to catch up with him a little earlier this weekend.
Try and get this first win. We got 2 rounds to go till summer, and it'll be good to go into summer break on a high note and close this points gap down. And yeah, it's getting tight. I think there's 3 or 4 of us that are pretty damn close, so it's getting interesting, and it's good for the sport. But yeah, I need to get my first win.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the goal's clear. I feel like for somebody like Liam Draper Jackson, the podiums are great. He is keeping that big picture in mind, but it is so abundantly clear he wants that first XC1 win. And we were even just talking off mic. It doesn't seem right that Liam Draper hasn't had an XC1 win. We've seen him up front. I mean, shoot, in his XC1 debut, the guy was on the podium of the last 4 rounds, but he just has missed out on that top step a couple of times now.
Yeah, Zach, he's been a runner-up 3 times here this season. He was a 2nd place finisher there at round 3, round 4, and round 5. Sitting 2nd as far as the points go. He has 128 points versus Jordan Ashburn's 137 points. And the big difference maker here as far as points go for Liam is a 13th place there at round number 2, by far being his worst finish of the season. He's had 2 7th place finishes here. Oh, I take that back, a 7th and an 8th place finish. And then our last round, round number 7, he was in the 4th place spot. We saw him coming alive there at, I believe it was the Kentucky round. We saw Liam Draper with a 2nd place. He was just right there, Zach. The big difference between here and Kentucky, he's going to have a tire that can make it the entirety of the race.
No doubt about it, as the Yamaha Racing Live Drone tries to catch up to see if we can catch a glimpse of the Yamaha racer Liam Draper. There is Grant Davis, and Draper still in that number 2 spot. Heard he had brought the fight to Davis. He certainly has, but still got just a little bit to go before he's going to be able to say that Blue Crew machine's in the number 1 spot as they get ready to open those bikes back up for a brief second. Some words of encouragement there. As here we go back to our 6-mile mark shot. We're going to keep our eyes peeled. Davis, let's see what he was able to do. This is an interesting point for Davis as well. We saw him get out front and kind of make not a full-on gesture, but he really didn't seem mad that Stu Baylor was putting him into that number 2 spot. But he's had about a lap or so to take some notes, to figure some lines out. Then he was kind of gifted that lead back, it seems like, and now got to wonder what he's going to be able to do with it.
Yeah, we'll see, Zach. It's anybody's guess how this race is going to unfold in general. It has been all season long, and this is going to be a tough course for these guys to make up time. I don't know how they're doing it. You see just how tough some of these sections are, and really hard for the guys to put the power to the ground, but they're making do. Oh, man.
Oh, man, you see a big shake of the head. Oh, it actually. Oh, wow. Sounds like there was some pretty serious audio that went along with that as well. So can't say these guys. I am sure it said, please move. That's what I'm going to go with.
I'm sure that's exactly how it went.
Grant Baylor was really looking racy, making some moves as well. Then Jordan Ashburn. There's Gus Reardon, Ryder Lafferty, Caleb Russell, Josh Strang, Jack Walker, Craig DeLong.
DeLong dropped back a couple of spots as well to that tail end of the XC1 field. Strang and Walker once again find themselves together. The Beta Boys marching their way towards the front. Once again, now we see Ben Kelly back on the charge from that number 3 spot, trying to close in on Draper.
Look at this battle at the front.
So watching the 2 KTM riders split by the AmPro Yamaha of Liam Draper.
Yeah, getting some work there from OPAG. A 350 here this weekend for Ben Kelly. That's something we saw Grant Davis doing just a little while earlier here this season. But Johnny, do you know for sure if Davis is going to be on the 450 machine or not here this weekend?
You know, you only hear things. Obviously we had the interview with Grant a few rounds ago about being on the 450 after starting on the 350. Then I heard at the last race they were both on the 350. Now this race, Grant on the 450, BK on the 350, so not something you normally see. But look at this, Liam Draper around the outside trying to make the pass, and he does on Grant Davis. Liam Draper, say it. Grown
man moves. There it is. That was full commitment right there as well. I think, honestly, kind of a little bit of an element of surprise. You saw the little glance over there from Davis, and now seeing a real response and sense of urgency from Davis. I'm not sure he was expecting that AmPro Yamaha to make a move there.
No, and definitely not one of the wave bides there. That was a legit pass being made.
You could almost see the go from Grant Davis right there midway through the corner.
He thought he had nailed that corner, and Liam Draper just opened it up, swept wider, carried more speed, and chopped right across the front of Grant Davis. Clean, but very decisive is the word that we used earlier. Seems like on this track today, when these riders are making passes, it's all at once.
For anybody out there that cares, I do believe Grant Davis is going to be on the 450 machine. From what OPHE has heard, Ben Kelly going to be on the 350, so can confirm that.
There we see our 4th and 5th place riders, Stu Baylor and Grant Baylor. The brothers flying in formation. Jordan Ashburn there in the number 6 spot. Comes the rest. Hard little angle to tell there. Looks like I see a Russell, a Strang. We saw
Walker, I believe.
Craig DeLong, and some lap riders in the mix as well. And that's really been the story, I believe, of a lot of these shakeups that we've seen. Is look at this. That's all lap riders coming through there. And, man, now we see
one of our Honda riders, I believe that might have been
Wachowski, or could have been Gus Reardon as well.
Yeah.
I think Reardon a little further up. I think he was in the six riders that have come through. Yeah, because he is ahead of Walker.
I know he's been just ahead of Tino for quite some time.
Eagle Eye having a little bit of trouble here, but from this shot, I should be able to tell exactly who everybody is. No question about who's out front now, though. 198 of Liam Draper, but Grant Davis absolutely slamming that KTM we believe to be 450 into the rut. And then Ben Kelly on that inside line there. Here comes Stu Baylor charging hard, and he's bringing his brother, or was bringing his brother with him. There is Grant in the number 5 spot. One of the better rides we've seen out of Grant.
Yep, no doubt.
So far, Grant Baylor so far this season, showing some speed late in the races, but you know, we're just at the halfway mark now, and he's already charging up and within sight of the lead. There's Wachowski, there's Lafferty, there's Russell.
That was Reardon, yeah. That far up already.
And let's see if there goes Jack Walker, now seeing Craig DeLong. Let's see if we can catch a glimpse here of Mike Wachowski, who I do believe is going to be just ahead of Jason Tino. Those two have been kind of latched together.
So when we're talking about Tino, and we just mentioned Gus Reardon, who I had called that guy right there, Mike Wachowski, looking at the overall, it is still Reardon and Walker 1 and 2 in the overall, and looking at the elapsed time of 1 hour, 14 minutes, 53 seconds, that is giving them about a 7 plus 26, so man, about a 33-second lead right now. And they made up, I was referencing this earlier and kind of never got to it when they showed the lap times. Lap time number 1 for, at the time, our leader, Jack Walker, was 29 seconds faster than the leader in the XC1 class, and they're still maintaining over a 30-second lead as they run on track right now. So as hard as the XC1 pack has been pushing, they've not made any inroads to that gap that the XC2 riders were able to make up or make out on the corrected time early on in this one. They've been able to stabilize that gap. Halfway through, we've seen it so many times, is today the day that we see an XC2 rider on top of the overall charts when the checkered flag flies.
Certainly wouldn't be surprised to see him on the podium.
Yeah, no doubt. Look at the difference here that adjusted time can make. Mike Wachowski sitting all the way back in the 15th place spot, and then Jason Tino, who's following just behind him there, gets to rocket all the way up to the 5th place spot on the adjusted time.
Basically, you got 10 riders separated by less than a minute there.
So over the halfway point here of this one as we sit at the mile 8 of the AMSOIL Watkins Glen facility.
And these are some of those breaks that we talk about, Jackson. So many riders on course at one time, and then all of a sudden you have quiet track. And then it's like you said, I-85, where there's just 100 people all stacked up wheel to wheel.
I got to tell you, the first time that we raced at what was Unadilla, the first New York round, that at least that I remember back in about 2005, even in the afternoon race, and the morning races were even more saturated. I remember you guys have both referenced the groups, or we'll call them gaggles of lappers. You would come up, and it wasn't there wasn't even a line you could take to pass them because they were occupying every line on the racetrack. Even though they were trying to pull over, it was literally like trying to navigate. Imagine going down the road and you're doing a speed limit at 70 miles an hour, and suddenly you come on traffic that seems like it's moving at about 15 or 20 miles an hour, and you're trying to go through them at speed. You can't just calm down and fall in line. You're in a race. You got to keep going. It becomes very hairy at times.
Even just on camera here, we saw that with Grant Davis. He keeps having the problem where the lead rider, he's sitting in that second place spot, and the lead rider gets the lap rider out the way, but then they funnel back in right onto Grant Davis. And guys, I bet the amount of close calls between our XC1 class that has had out there has to be astronomical.
Looking at the screen there, we see Grant Davis in the number 2 spot. Now, Liam Draper into the pits this lap. Explains his jump forward. So last lap, we saw both Davis and Kelly in, so this is going to drop him back at least to the 3rd place spot. Stu Baylor in the pits this lap, as well as Grant Baylor. A little miscue about where they were going to stop him there. You saw the fuel man come running. He thought they were going to stop him behind Stu. Actually stops in front of Stu, but out flying in formation looked like Ashburn into the pits there. There goes Draper the other way and right back on the rear wheels of Grant Davis. Grant Davis.
Yes.
Davis.
Was Grant Davis. He
must have pulled stopped as well.
Yeah, he must have pulled
because he would have been well ahead of. So maybe KTM deciding to go with the splash and go, knowing that their rider's now able to make it to the finish. That could have been goggles, could have been a lot of things. Respectively, we don't have it on camera, but Davis would be well ahead had he not have stopped that lap. So that begs the question: did Ben Kelly stop as well, or is he now out? Wait for our next camera shot to find out.
Sounds like Jackson Burrow going to run down to the pit, see if we can get a scoop. He's here for the racing. I love it, and we've got plenty of it here this weekend.
There is Ben Kelly on screen, and yes, so Kelly either pitted and was in and out more quickly or did not pit at all, but he is now back to the front after running in the 3rd place spot. That shuffles Draper back to 3rd, and Grant Davis splits the 2 there in the number 2 spot.
I wonder what happened there, because they're definitely thinking BK didn't pit, and then Davis must have jumped back in. Potentially, like you said, a splash and go where Dave's going to try to go the full distance.
Yeah, I mean, those pit stops usually about 8 seconds, give or take. So there's Davis in the number 2 spot, and Liam Draper should be coming on screen here any moment in that number 3 spot. You see Ben Kelly riding off of the distance back to the front, leading much of this one after making that pass on Stu Baylor. Now comes Liam Draper, the 198 Ampro Yamaha, taking a look over his shoulder to see if he's got company back there. Back seeing a lapped rider. They will be checking in now with 4 laps complete here. Just another couple of corners. Kelly has checked in and out to start lap number 5.
Yep, does sound like we had a splash and go there for Davis, so Jackson getting some confirmation in the pits.
I wonder if that's a function of Grant Davis being on the 450 versus Ben Kelly on the 350 and fuel consumption, or is Ben Kelly still awaiting a splash at a future time in this race? We'll have to wait and see. Definitely could come into play for the finishing order in this one, as close as they've been running throughout the entirety of it so far.
That's an interesting point to bring up, the 350 versus 450. I didn't even think about that.
And again, depending on the tuning, the gearing, there's so many factors.
I mean, the way they ride the machines even.
And I will say this, we've talked about it before throughout the broadcast, but most of these teams will actually measure exactly how much fuel goes into the machine, and then they can calculate mileage down really to the liter. So they can give you a mile per liter or gallon, but the teams that calculate tend to gravitate towards liters. It's just a little more precise measurement. I used to do it in ounces because I'm American.
Okay.
But that said, they'll know based off not just what they kind of know from previous information, but once they've stopped the riders, they know exactly how much fuel they used, how long they were out there, how much ground they covered. And look at this. So Grant Baylor actually was able to make the pass on Stu Baylor, and Ryder Lafferty now up in the mix. So a rider that we haven't seen a whole lot of here in 2026. Has had some solid performances, but definitely this is the strongest we've seen him running so far here this year.
No doubt about it. And that was after the pits where Grant must have made the pass, because Stu did get back out in front of him. So the Grizzly, he had been getting warmed up and kind of starting to move his way forward, and now he is certainly making some strides happen as he puts Big Bro behind him and now going to try to work his way up to that top 3 duo, or top 3 trio, I should say.
Stu Baylor definitely looking like some frustration on him. You could tell from that pit stop, just definitely seeming like having a little bit of troubles.
A couple different ways to get through this section here.
They have beat those trees up right there.
Things stretching out just a little bit between our top 3. Looking back to 4th, we should see Grant Baylor in the number 4 spot. And there he is. He's gotten around big brother Stu, looking comfy and holding a great pace through that section. And then again, Ryder Lafferty, shout out to that rider. Just outside the top 5 physically on course, sitting in that number 6 spot. But look at that, there's our XC2 riders. So, man, Jack Walker back to lead. Gus Reardon in the number 2 spot. Can see Jack off in the distance there, just ahead of him.
Impressive ride here from Walker. Is now an hour and 45 minutes into this one, kind of responded. Tino starting to catch back up as well, so the XC2 group starting to kind of bunch back together. Here comes Wachowski.
And a whole bunch of lap traffic. Brody Johnson running in the number 4 spot in that XC2 class, but he's got quite a bit of ground to make up to get in the mix for a podium here today.
And taking a look backside of the top 20, shout out to those 4 amateur riders still hanging on to it. Colton Shields, Michael DeLosa, Hunter Smith, and Cooper Jones.
Same 4, but the running order has mixed up quite a bit. Losa running solid there in the number 2 spot. Colton Shields leading the way on that Husky machine. Hunter Smith, always strong late in races. We've seen a lot of races so far this year. He's in the mix for that overall amateur podium. And then when it all there is Johnson, 4th place in the XC2, giving an idea of that gap that he needs to make up to get in the running for a podium here today. But Hunter Smith, and just like that, Hunter Smith to the top of the charts. They must have just checked in. We know he gets stronger as the race goes on. Now to that top overall amateur position and leading the way in the 258 bike class by 5 seconds. Another 5 seconds back to Cooper Jones. And then our 4th place rider actually has not checked in yet.
So taking a look now at our last lap times. 25:58 for Ben Kelly, a 25:43 for Jason Tino. So Tino now on the move as he's the fastest of our riders being shown here on that last lap. 25:54 for Draper. It's so impressive to see how close they still are even this late into the moto. XC2 news, thinking about it, getting word Jack Walker did not pit. And so I believe Walker will have another pit on that 2-stroke, correct?
2-stroke, almost always will see Jack Walker on a 2-stop strategy.
Yeah.
That 2-stroke machine, they just burn more fuel. We used to always see that with the Baylor boys back in the day. It's just one of those things. They run them at such a high RPM range and they burn more fuel. So they're always on a 2-stop strategy. I thought, okay, nope, so it is still Draper in 3rd. And look at this, Ryder Lafferty putting pressure on Stu Baylor, trying to wrestle away that 5th place spot. He is looking very strong here today. So again, shout out to that rider. Josh Strang in the number 7 spot. Jordan Ashburn 8th. Craig DeLong 9th. Jack Walker 2nd overall. Well, now will be your overall leader. There we see on screen. And Gus Reardon there is Caleb Russell running in that 13th place spot overall. And 10th in the XC1 Pro class. There is Tino 3rd in XC2.
So Reardon
3rd overall.
Reardon's in a pretty good spot because we saw him go in that Phoenix pit. So he should be pretty much gassed up for the rest of this race. Now if he can just keep Walker right there in front of him, probably getting told from the team, hey, you know Walker's going to pit again. So
and looking at those gaps, I mean, that's really going to bring Tino back into it. If he keeps the gap the same, Jack Walker has to pit. If he doesn't make the pass, he'll be virtually on the rear wheel of Jack Walker, and we could see a battle, a 3-way battle over the win in that XC2 Pro Lights class. Talking about the battle in that XC2 Pro Lights class, we talked about in the opener, boys, tied for the points lead between Jason Tino and Jack Walker. Gus Reardon, I believe, 4 or 5 points back.
Actually just pulling the points up.
Well, that's going to be overall points. We have to. They do not operate off overall points in that class. I believe Adam gave us that breakdown. We were doing the openers. And I believe it was 4 or 5 points back is Gus Reardon, despite having multiple issues early on in the season.
Yeah, although as far as the overall charge go, going to be different there.
That's where that one gets confusing. If you remember the issue we had last year, we talked about Grant Davis wrapping up that XC2 title on a day where he crashed out of the race, but he still finished enough laps that he scored points in the XC2 class, and it was enough to wrap up that championship. So just to clarify that for you folks watching at home, our overall champion is decided off of top 20 overall points, whereas the class championships, everything except for XC1, decided by the individual class points, which are not taking into account overall finishes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to race for at this point. And Tino, if I'm not mistaken, a little under the weather on this last one.
Did you catch what he was shouting out to the camera, but that was a 4-digit number.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of those this weekend. Jackson and I were talking about it. OPAG, the first rider I ever saw with a 4-digit number. So
back to our leaders.
Hey, 1-digit numbers right here, then 1 and 2 machine.
Always blew my mind when you go to the NIOA races and there's 4-digit numbers, just showing how big their turnouts are. They kind of get like season-long numbers. They put them on their machine, and because they have so many riders, they have more than 1,000. They don't want to break them up, so they just say, hey, you know, pick a number. So you'll see number 9,465 out there.
Well, that's what I'm just thinking from an announcing standpoint. Number 8,637 goes up against the 1,400. Like,
no, you say them in groups, so it's like 8643. Yeah.
Good thing I'm not an NIOA announcer for the moment, at least. Got to put in some practice.
This is a super choppy section that we see right here, guys, when they're exiting the woods right there. I saw one of the Baylor boys getting a huge kick coming out of that one. I believe that was Grant getting such a big kick there, but man, it's always so impressive to me how these guys get such huge kicks and just continue to charge forward, and it doesn't seem like it phases them whatsoever, Johnny. They are true professionals.
Tino continuing to close up that gap. He is closer to Walker and also Reardon than we have seen him all day. So Tino putting in a charge here just past the halfway mark, approaching the 2/3 of the way into this. Mike Wachowski charging back after a crash early on, leading, dropping back all the way to about the 6th place spot, currently running in the 15th place overall, but he looks like he's charging.
He does indeed now. An hour and 50 minutes into this approximately 3-hour-long race, sitting at the mile 3 marker right here. Our main group making their way by.
Have we gotten confirmation of a lap count for the race?
I believe a 7-lap race. Okay. Yep, 7-lap race from race control. So going to be a long race. Boys have had to eat in the Wheaties this morning. We'll put it like that.
They're out here at the 3-mile marker on lap number 5. So we'll see a 2-lap board when they come through here at the end of this lap. Still several miles remaining and a lot of racing action left in this one.
And guys, when you're turning 7 laps on a track like this, it is going to get rough by lap number 7.
And it being a new track. The ground is soft. It hasn't really taken, generally speaking, what happens here when they push the vegetation off the top and you take that top layer off, you expose the roots, you expose the rock, but then they'll come back through with those mini dozers that you see parked around the property. They push all the dirt back in. A lot of times they'll even reseed, but it compacts the dirt. So when we come back, any of the sections that they run again, they won't run the exact same track, but you'll run some sections. It kind of firms up the dirt. Even if it is moist or rains and it's wet, it doesn't dig out as much as it does in year number 1. And that's why, like, when we go to Talladega, we've raced there twice, both of them being a mutter. That track has gotten incredibly deep because it just hasn't packed in.
We're taking a look at 2 FMF KTM boys at the front of the field. And we see Liam Draper and then the Grizzly getting mighty comfortable. Bringing Big Bro along with him. Looks like Ryder Lafferty still right in tow as well.
Yeah, Ryder Lafferty not backing down in this one. And a good showing for the rider on that Morning Duck Honda machine. I believe kind of doing his own thing here. Semi-privateer, I guess you could say. So good showing for him. There's Angus Reardon making his way by.
Just in front of Caleb Russell.
Is that Jack Walker just ahead of him there?
Yep. And now Tino's there. Tino's on a charge. He is definitely making up ground on the XC2 leaders, which eventually, right now, is the overall leader. So he is in the race for an overall win here today.
Yeah, Tino, a local boy here, and he's going to continue to charge, from Jersey, and I'm sure he's going to continue to charge in this one. I'm sure he's got plenty of friends and family here with us, but man, anybody that's never saw Jason Tino in the pits without his gear on, he is a tank. He is a built The shorter fella.
Long-time wrestler.
Yes, yes. Star wrestler from what I've heard. Very, very good in his own right when it came to wrestling. Very good on a dirt bike as well. So this is the career path.
They all saw it. He did the post-race interview without a jersey on. I'm sure the DMs were blowing up.
The Bryson
he was on
the new Bryson Neal. That's what he said.
He was on the podium. I believe that was round number 4 at Camp Coker. He was all ripped up on the podium, man. That's where I saw it at myself.
Yeah, it's I mean, we say it all the time. It's so impressive. Even some of these riders that, you know, physically walking around, they may look rather unassuming. You may not realize that they're all tanks at the end of the day, especially on the cardiovascular side of things. We've talked about the ability to maintain this level of physical activity for this long, and then the mental strength that you got to have available as well, and that burns a lot of your energy as well. As both of you guys know, it's something where the ability to think clearly, change lines, deal with lap riders.
That's a big gap there. Liam Draper has lost quite a bit of time in that section of the racetrack, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Look at that, falling back almost now into the grasp of Grant Baylor, Stu Baylor, and Ryder Lafferty still right there. And Zach, you mentioned they're all tanks. Well, they're not all tanks because you've got the diesel out there. Ben Kelly, obviously very fit, but just a whole lot of grit and crazy cardio for that man. We see him get stronger as the races go on. Here's Josh Strang on that Glen Factory Beta, right along in the Rockstar Racing Husqvarna. Things starting to stretch out a little bit further back here in the packed areas. Jack Walker, and look at this. This is the battle for the XC2 lead on screen. Reardon right behind Walker. We do know that Walker will almost assure it. Look at this. Tino is right there now. What was a few seconds is now just a few bike minutes. Jason Tino getting stronger as this one goes on after a poor start, working his way up, now right on the rear wheel of Gus Reardon in that number 2 spot, and just ahead of him. Oh, look at that, going deep.
He's been doing that a lot, Johnny. I've saw him several times choosing those outside lines, not quite getting tangled up like he did there, but he's been hard on the outsides here all day, and it's worked for him quite a few times. Johnny, I'd like to welcome into the booth our WXC winner for the day. I told her to come in after a couple hours. She almost hit it right on the mark. But Danielle McDonald, glad to have you in the Racer TV booth with us. What have you been seeing out there? You been watching any of this so far?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I just actually finished pitting my brother on the 4th lap there, so yeah.
Nice. Well, glad to have you in here with us. I know, like you said, your brother out there racing, so glad that you'll come and join us in the Racer TV booth. Of course, like I said, taking the big win in the WXC class today, so good to get to talk to somebody that's actually been out on the course. What'd you think about the track here at Watkins Glen?
It was definitely pretty technical, definitely a fun track. It's always cool to go and race another track that hasn't been raced on before, so no, it was cool. It was definitely pretty rooty and technical, but it was good.
Yeah, we're going to get to take a look at it right here. Making your way through in the 2nd place spot to get it started off with, and I'll let you kind of take. No, that was not you. What am I talking about? Where were you at?
I had to charge from the back on this one.
Yeah, I dead last on that start, unfortunately, but I made it pretty quick up there, and I think there I am.
There you go.
Straight back up there, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, cool indeed. You can see Brandy Richards, Corey Steed, and then of course you, and it wasn't long until you made it into the lead.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked with that one.
So grabbing the win here today, Danielle, you know, a lot of these tracks, obviously for everyone, this is the first time having raced this facility. But for you, especially last year, you know, almost all brand new tracks. So does it feel any different? Obviously for you, you're kind of used to the new track thing. Was it what you were expecting, or what were your expectations coming into your first race here in the state of New York?
I was actually expecting it to be a lot more rocky than it was, which it was very rooty, which actually really surprised me. But it was good. It's always good to have a new track, which kind of brings down the racing closer. The rest of the other girls don't know the track, so it brings the racing pretty close.
Well, you guys had a heck of a battle out there. I was following it along during the race. You and Brandy were separated by just inches throughout most of the race. I imagine with the number of riders that you had out there this morning, there had to be some definitely some difficult moments. How did you navigate your way through all those lapped riders and all those other amateur riders on track?
Yeah, I mean, Brady definitely didn't make it easy on me. She was right up on my behind me, and she was definitely winning. It was definitely hard to make those passes with the lappers, and but yeah, there was just honestly surprised me how many lappers there were this one.
What's your thoughts so far? Like, first time racing in New York, obviously, all of the lapped riders, and just kind of obviously very much in the mix for a championship this year. You're running that reverse plate as the points leader, and another win here today. Is it kind of what you expected coming over from Australia? I wouldn't imagine you have conditions like this, exactly, this dirt, the rocks, the roots. Obviously, Australia, we think of it, never spent much time there, but a lot of sand. So is it a long process to adapt, or are you just kind of taking them as they come?
Yeah, it's definitely, we have nothing like this back home, so it's definitely taken me a long time to kind of get the hang of it and work out what I need to do at these races. Back home, we have a lot of dry races and not much more of the wet races. We don't really do those. But no, it's good. I'm finally starting to get a handle of it, and yeah, it's actually my first full season of the GNCC, so yeah, I'm happy to be up there up front.
We spoke a little bit earlier with Auntie Colin and the KTM off-road group manager and also the US ISD team manager. I know you've actually done 6 days a few times. Is that on your radar here for 2026? Will you be heading over to Portugal?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be heading over there representing the green and gold for Team Australia again for the 4th year. So I'm really excited. Portugal should be good. It should suit Team Australia a lot more with how dry it usually is over there and how rocky it is. So it'll be good.
Very cool. Well, definitely thank you for joining us. You're welcome to stay and call some action with us here, but it's definitely been a breakthrough season for you. Good to see you with that points lead and bring some new energy into that WXC class. Obviously, a lot of imports in the past from Australia. Taylor Jones, multi-time series champion. Mackenzie Tricker winning many races. And then, obviously, even stepping back before that, riders like Geoff Aaron used to come over, and Jeff Aaron, sorry. I would say Geoff when I was younger, but I guess it is pronounced Jeff. And he is a big part of that ISD effort as well. So Australia well represented here in GNCC. Do many of the folks at home in Australia tune in to watch the races?
Yeah, they definitely try to. They watch a bit of the PM race, but they have actually asked me to see if there was an AM race for the TV, but unfortunately there isn't. But they do listen on to the live feed, which is pretty cool, and yeah, they cheer me on. They send me messages, which is pretty cool.
Hopefully one day. Hopefully one day we'll get it there.
One day soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah, you spoke about those lap riders. That's been a huge talking point here all day for your race that was taken off at 10 o'clock. And then, of course, this 1 o'clock pro race that's out there. I don't know exactly how many is on the course for this one. Zach was doing the starts and had those numbers. But I know in your race, over 400 riders were out on the track. And I'm sure it has to be similar numbers here in this one. So, well, what do you think these riders are going to be having to face as far as the lap riders go? Yeah, I know you talked to me on the podium saying that it was better to be in the top spot, but we saw a couple times where that is actually kind of bit Grant Davis because the riders funnel back into him, and he winds up getting in a little bit of trouble there.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's harder being in front. The lappers don't know that you're coming through. So, yeah, you're kind of like trying to get around them, and they're just realizing that you're coming through. So you have to be pretty careful. They seem to move off the track and bump into you here and there. So, yeah, just got to be mindful of that.
Yeah, you want to be close enough. You want to be in that second spot, close enough that you can squeeze on by, but not far enough that they have time to funnel back in, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you seeing any big groups? That's something else we were talking about here, is how you get these huge groups of lap riders at least at the finish. Is that what you were seeing out on the track?
Yeah, there were some times that they seem to all bunch up together and get in a bit of a rhythm. So it's hard to kind of funnel between them, but yeah, you just got to let them know that you're there.
Almost need a whole new trail to get around some of those big groups.
Yeah.
Well, we referenced how many lap riders you had to pass, but that was even with a split format on the modified schedule. So there was an 8 a.m. race. The youth actually that normally runs at 8 a.m. ran at 4 p.m. yesterday. That was a function of started up here in New York many years ago, realizing how many riders were on the track at the time. GNCC saying, okay, we need to figure out a way in these morning races to split them up. Do you feel that back, I don't remember the exact number, but at Ironman back in 2017 or 2018 before the split format, nearly 1,000 riders on the track in the morning race. A little bit longer track and some more opportunities there. And I believe last year at Ironman, you would have done the split format there as well. I feel like that helps a little bit with the lap riders?
Oh, absolutely. It definitely helps us out in the WXC class to not have so many riders to get through. So, yeah, it definitely helps us out. And, yeah, we're glad that there's a split.
Well, we're watching the action on screen here, joined in the booth by Danielle McDonald, our WXC and overall winner from this morning's race. Yep. Several hundred riders on track. What did you say the number was, Jackson?
400.
400 riders on track, taking the overall win. showing just how capable these ladies are. Most times winning the overall outright against a lot of times local pro riders, local A riders will come and race the sportsman classes, and just showing the speed of our GNCC female athletes out there in their own right against some of the best of the best. And it's very impressive what you guys do out there.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're here at the 8-mile marker and waiting and watching. We do know our leader on screen still, Ben Kelly. Grant Davis in that number 2 spot. We did see in the last camera shot, your teammate, Liam Draper, had actually dropped back a bit, but he was now right back to the rear wheel of Grant Davis. Potentially, we do a lot of speculating here at Racer TV. We don't see everything, but maybe some lapped riders getting in the mix there, slowing him down. He's been able to charge back up to these riders here. That is that is Ben Kelly on screen leading the way. Looks like he's opened up a little bit of a gap now over the number 2 of Grant Davis.
Wait and watch here, see if we can get a glimpse of Grant Davis and see what that new gap is going to be. And that is not him right there. Man, so opening up quite a big gap at this point for Ben Kelly, at least compared to what we've been seeing, Johnny.
Yeah, and we had seen, obviously, there is Davis in the number 2 spot. And we'll wait and watch for the 198 of Draper on that AmPro Yamaha.
I think that's one of our amateur riders.
Oh, yeah. Okay, wow. So the gap is definitely over them.
Getting word about a 10-second gap is what the new gap is going to be. So Ben Kelly is starting to march away just a bit.
So any questions about the fitness and health of Ben Kelly as we are now past the 2-hour mark maybe being answered here in this one? A big crash 2 races ago in Tennessee, actually having to retire from that event, costing him valuable championship points at the time. Look at this. Now Grant Baylor all over Liam Draper, trying to run it up the inside to make the pass.
He's going to have the line. And he puts it in there.
Wow, that was a melee right there. All of the water bottle handoffs, trying to throw some water. Draper immediately going back after Grant Baylor, but at least for the moment, Baylor up into a podium position there in 3rd on that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC machine, charging hard. Draper wanting that position back. How was the dust out there today, Danielle? It seemed like, obviously, we got some rain last night. Did you guys have much dust in the fields?
In the field sections, there was a little bit starting to form up towards the end there, but honestly, the rain did it good, and it turned out pretty good.
How about the vines that were out there? Were y'all running into any of those? Because I saw a few sections when I was walking around at the finish line. Now, there's some thick vines.
Yeah, I actually had a few sketchy moments that sent me into the vines, which I got pretty caught up in pretty bad. So they're pretty thick and strong, and yeah, you don't want to get into one of those.
Yeah, not really the kind that you can break free from. They'll definitely stop a machine, that's for sure. So seeing the whole crew here from the XC1 now coming through, and there's Jack Walker right on time.
Big shakeups in the XC2 class. Jack Walker all the way back to 3rd now. Tino up to the number 2 spot, and Gus Reardon out front leading the way, and those gaps starting to open up just a bit. We anticipate potentially that Jack Walker may have pitted there. We do know he was anticipating having to make one more stop on that 2-stroke machine, coming through for what should be a 2-lap board, and there is Ricky Tower grabbing that 2-lap board to let Ben Kelly know 2 more laps around this Watkins Glen International course here, where he could potentially put his name atop the trophy for the inaugural visit here to Watkins Glen.
No doubt. Actually, seeing some of those sections that I was talking about, those are the sections that we're seeing on screen that have some of those very thick vines in them as the boys make their way over here to the finish line. That's going to be Grant Baylor we're following along with.
We see Ryder Lafferty now starting to put some pressure on Liam Draper, trying to wrestle away that number 4 spot. I did not see Stu Baylor in that last shot.
Yeah, I didn't catch him either.
Stu has checked in. Oh, wow. Look at this.
What you seeing?
Hold on a second. I'm showing Grant Davis having just checked in the number 6 spot.
Well, looking at our pylon on the left side of our screen, I guess that would appear to be right there. It is.
So it's Grant Baylor now up to the number 2 spot, and Liam Draper sitting there in the number 3 spot. So Lafferty up to 4th, Baylor 5th, and Davis dropping all the way back to the number 6 spot. So that 10-second gap is now over Grant Baylor in the number 2 spot. Josh Strang now checking in, waiting on those XC2 riders. They should be checking in any moment, anticipating them to rocket. No, Ben Kelly has done enough. He has a 1-second lead over Gus Reardon in the overall. Jason Tino sitting another 14 seconds back in third overall. So Ben Kelly, your overall leader, that could loom large in the points if things finish up the way they're running. That would be huge points gained for Ben Kelly in that championship quest here in 2026 with a lap time of 25:07. The only rider even close, Grant Baylor with a 25:09. So the XC1 boys are on it here, and they have now done enough. Well, Ben Kelly has done enough to offset the time gap of Gus Reardon and Jason Tino.
Johnny, while you're looking there at the computer, seeing a huge bobble from Stu Baylor. There goes Angus Reardon on screen, followed by Craig DeLong, but that is going to be your XC2 leader making his way around. And looking for second place here in the XC2 division. That is going to be Caleb Russell out of XC1, and there is Jason Tino out of XC2, so that is going to be your second place in our 250 Pro division.
Tino getting a little risky there, wheeling himself right towards the fence. Then it's Ashburn.
And that was the corner that Stu Baylor just had that huge bobble in. So there's definitely something on the backside of those trees, some ruts, some rocks maybe that are throwing these riders off. So we've been off to a big one here today at what is the 2026 AMSOIL Watkins Glen International, the site of round number 8 here of the season. Making the inaugural round here, another new round for GNCC. Stu Baylor's been off to quite the day. We know he's had a good run here at the NASCAR races, but for now, the KTM boys getting after it. We're gonna be for Glen in just a moment.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Came here to the ranch, like right when you roll through the gates, everyone kind of says you feel the same thing. This is such a special place.
Welcome to best 42 in the land. All ages from kids up to grown men. Walking the gates of the coal miner's daughter to make a point clearer than the creek water. Who's the best? Who's it gonna be? In Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. Can you feel the adrenaline? Dirt flies hypnotized by the wind spin. Feel the crowd, everybody's listening. Live on the field. Do what you gotta do for 20+2 out at the ranch.
I love coming to Loretta's. This is my family, right?
really special for me, so a lot of good memories.
Love coming here to Loretta's.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Well, as you can see, the beautiful Watkins Glen International, one of the fan favorite stops on the NASCAR circuit. A ton of history here, and we're adding to that this weekend with GNCC Racing. And here at GNCC, we celebrate the present, but we also get a nice little look into the future as well. Jackson, an extra special weekend, getting to call the STACYC Racing action. These faces look just as serious as an XC1 rider.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's all serious right there.
It was nerve-wracking for me. I know how important this is to these little guys. We had a 2 and under division. We had a 3-year-old division, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, and then a 7, 8-plus-year-old division. But how about a 2 years old and younger? And then, of course, Mr. Cotter and STACYC giving out a bike to a young girl that was standing on the side of the track. That's always one of my favorite parts. Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We had contact. We had takeouts. We had severe crashes. We've had a few invisible potholes. That seems to happen on bicycles in general, though. You just hit like a false hole and do a flip out of nowhere. But yeah, we saw a little bit of that. But yeah, giving out the STACYC bike as they do at every STACYC round. They find a little one that's on the side of the track that looks like they want to be out there on the track, and Mr. Cotter and the crew always making sure to hook somebody up, and that's one of my favorite parts about the STACYC races.
Well, Jackson, you talk about those phantom holes. They're very real holes out there. So they actually had the NASCAR race here not long ago, and I was told it rained that weekend, and that's where the ruts through the parking area are. This is actually over on the starting line, so it had been chewed up, but definitely rough ground for these little machines. Most of them no suspension, as you can tell that machine there. And these little guys, just guys and gals, bouncing around in some wheelies coming across the finish line as well. A great time had by all involved. Always a fan favorite at our STACYC races.
And that truly has shaped a generation of racers, right? I mean, that's kind of their slogan, their mantra, but at the same time, it's the absolute truth. And Jackson, we talk about it all the time. Yesterday, having a busy day on the bike side of things for us, more so than usual, seeing both the micros and the youth, but those are those STACYC generations that have grown up, and we talk about the technical skills that they've got at such a young age, whether it would be off-road racing, motocross racing, whatever it is. It really has changed the game when it comes to these riders moving through the ranks at a certain level.
Yeah, we have that 2 and under class, and they're no joke. They are really riding those machines, and it gets the kids on them at such a young age. They'll get them at literally a year old. They'll get on these STACYC machines, learn back in the form. There's so much that they learn from it, and before you know it, they're looking like Jason Tino, who's on screen out on the track. And we saw that Willie there from the STACYC rider. That's the result of them playing around so much. Before you know it, they're 12 o'clock on the STACYC machine.
Well, absolutely. Or they're intentionally pulling wheelies to get over downed obstacles.
Exactly.
And having to move the machine. Like it really is, the fun turns into these technical skills that they're building that they don't even realize it, because at the end of the day, they're just having a good time as a little kid. But it really has changed the game when it comes to realizing, hey, those skills can be used for a purpose, and that purpose is going really fast here at GNCC.
And Mike Wachowski making his way through there on the number 8 Phoenix Racing Honda machine and trying to get the train back on the tracks after leading the way, having almost a hole shot there for him, and then leading some of this race, and then not sure exactly what happened. I'm going to try to run over there here in just a minute and see if I can get a word on what did officially happen there during the first lap there for Mike Wachowski.
Sounded like a crash.
Yeah, that's
what I was hearing. So a crash, and then maybe just a little bit of misdirection there for Ashburn. But the fact that they happened at the same time made us kind of start to wonder what went on. So, but both of them doing a good job of kind of shaking that off and rebounding.
Look at Ryder Lafferty.
Yeah, he's gotten around Liam Draper now. So Lafferty, the man on the move, and currently now moving up to an XC1 podium position.
And that is a huge day for that young man.
Yes, that is.
Former points leader a few years ago in the XC2 class, grabbing a number of wins. And then just kind of the season seemed to come unraveled for him there when he was riding for that Coastal Racing Gas team. Now on the privateer Lucky Duck?
Morning Duck.
Morning Duck. I wasn't being funny. I was mistaken. And then, coming back, just showing his passion, his Uncle Mike and his father, you know, former off-road racers in their own right. Uncle Mike winning multiple, I believe, 8 Enduro championships. So he comes from a long line of off-road motorcycle racers, showing today that he has the stuff to get up here and mix it up with the best of the best.
Well, and this, we've seen it time and time again. He's really good off the start sometimes, and when he does, he doesn't just disappear. He usually hangs out there for a lap, maybe sometimes 2 or so, but this late into the race now, 2 hours and, what is that, 18 minutes, 16 minutes? 2 hours, yeah, 2 1/4 into this race, and he's moving forward. This is a speed and a fitness level and pressure from Lafferty we haven't seen in quite some time.
Look at this. Now, Jack Walker has gotten back around Jason Tino and retaken the number 2 spot in that XC2 class, right in there in the mix with Jordan Ashburn. Just a little further up the trail, Caleb Russell as well, running in that 12th place spot overall.
Yeah, Walker definitely not out of this one.
Meanwhile, Ben Kelly at the front of the field was checking with the KTM crew while Daniel McDonald was in here. No plans for Ben Kelly to come back into the pits, say he is good on gas. Kind of what we suspected, the 450 versus the 350 in the way Grant rides. They wanted to make sure he was safe as far as fuel levels go. So Ben Kelly at the moment trying to bring this thing on home.
And here it is on screen, Ben Kelly reaching for his Camelback through a very technical, tight section of racetrack, making sure he stays hydrated. Out front, the only of the XC1 riders that has been able to so far. And that just shows you how close things are, because there is 2nd and 3rd place and 4th place and 5th place and 6th place. Grant Davis still back there in the 6th spot, grabbing a bottle as well. I wasn't sure. OPAG saying that was Josh Strang, and it looked like it may have been, but I can't say for sure that it was. If it was, he's definitely made up some ground, but it looked like a number 7 on the jersey.
I'm telling you what, I saw Josh and Cameron Strang through the pit section, and she was pointing, saying they're right ahead about 9 or 10 seconds. They were fired up, and I saw the affirmative nod.
Are you? No, yeah.
That's weird. And
so that may have been Josh Strang up in the mix now in the battle for the lead, which is about 7 riders deep. No, there is Josh Strang. That was a lap.
And there is the long. So Strang going to try to sink his hooks into the back of Reardon and see if they can close that gap up.
Waiting and watching. Next rider we should see would be Caleb Russell.
Yeah, 7 on the jersey, but not Josh Strang there. So and then, there we see Caleb Russell.
There we see Grant Baylor, Ryder Lafferty, that is 2nd and 3rd. There is Liam Draper in 4th. There is Grant Davis has now gotten around Stu Baylor and wrestled away the number 5 spot in the running order. Again, all of those riders displaced by 2 XC2 riders behind them, with the exception of Ben Kelly. Interesting, though, now Grant Baylor almost to the rear wheel of Ben Kelly, and he's brought the rest with him, Ryder Lafferty, Liam Draper. I'm curious to see how this shakes out after 6 laps complete, what will be a white flag waving. Have these riders picked up the pace enough now that we're going to see those XC2 riders drop even further back down in the running order, or are they going to jump back to the top and be number 1 and 2 again, with Jack Walker there as well?
There you see a 1 rider moving out of the way. That was a perfect example of it. He turned his head away and started to ride off before he saw 2nd place Grant Baylor making his way through. So I'm sure that rider in for quite the surprise here in just a moment. When he looks back again, though, he's going to see pretty much the entire starting row.
And what's starting to look like a bit of a frustrating day for Stu Baylor, sitting back there 8th place overall. He's still right in the mix. I mean, he can see the leader in the longer sections of racetrack. So this one, Stu Baylor talks about it. Every time we come to a new property, especially the NASCAR properties, he wins them all. And it's one of those things where, although it on the charts, 8th, it's not a good day for Stu Baylor. A couple passes, he's right up in the mix for the win here today. And you can see looking very racy, starting to put pressure back on Grant Davis.
Yeah, I got to think if there's one guy that's going to have a lot of belief in himself and know that he's got a strong last lap kind of tucked away, I think that is exactly what Stu's got in store. And not to mention, I mean, we've talked about it before, Stu has openly said he's one of those riders, he wants as much data as possible about knowing where to go. Yeah, these guys got a front row view right here.
Zach, you mentioned it. You said, hey, you know, they're going to look back and see just about the rest of the XC1 class. Well, these riders are saying, okay, well, we're going to wait until we get back in the mix. Now, Gus Reardon, our XC2 leader, 2nd place overall, working his way through our camera shot there. Again, he has opened up a bit of a gap now over Jack Walker and Jason Tino. there is DeLong.
So these guys are just enjoying the show. Dude, we just got lapped. How cool was that? That was Ben Kelly. Yeah, I can't imagine it. OPAG chiming in and saying, yeah, it's a whole nother. It's almost scary when these guys go by. I know it's.
I believe the word he used was terrifying.
Terrifying, yeah, no, and that's pretty accurate as well because especially I couldn't imagine a freight train like that where it's just this roar coming up behind you. And like I said, all of these riders in this afternoon race extremely accomplished, more than comfortable on rough conditions. They're very technically skilled, and still it just goes to show in some of these sections and even some of these field sections, just the pace, especially this late in a race as well. I think that's another big separator is the fitness and how serious these top riders are and take it. It's a whole nother level, that's for sure.
We did just see the battle for second place in that XC2 class as Gus Reardon has now opened up a sizable gap, leading the way in that one. Jason Tino, Fuckers, wheel to wheel coming through this section of racetrack, yet to be decided. And that, again, those riders tied for the overall, for the points lead in that XC2 class on the season so far. But if Gus Reardon gets the win today, no matter who finishes second, he's going to be right there in the mix, being only 4 or 5 points back. We'll see if we can maybe pull it up on our points chart, or if OPAG or somebody in the booth can take a look. I believe it was either 4 or 5 points back was Gus Reardon. So if it was 5, he would be tied with whoever finishes second out of Tino and
And just like you said, Johnny, don't forget this XC2 class by class points, not by overall points as well, because that's where I was confused earlier. I looked at the overall points, and Gus is actually splitting Jack and Jason. And so it is interesting, kind of like we had talked about, the way those points differ. So 5 points back was Gus Reardon.
So that would mean, depending which rider finishes second, if it is either Jason Tino or Jack Walker, then today, essentially, Gus Reardon could tie himself for the points lead if he gets the win here today, leaving the other rider some combination of points back. But the battle for the lead on screen, Ben Kelly leading the way, and there is Grant Baylor now right to the rear wheel, and actually Liam Draper in tow there now. He has gotten around Lafferty up to the number 3 spot, and Grant Davis still ahead of Stu Baylor, and they are 5th and 6th in the running order. So that is your top 6 through here from our Yamaha Racing Live drone through this section of racetrack.
Yeah, so how about that? A nice little response from Draper, now trying to put the pressure onto Grant Baylor. And like we said, not counting Draper out of this one. We know how hard he's been working to try to get that first XC1 win. That is the clear-cut focus for him, but he is still in this title hunt as well. So how far is he going to hang it out to try to get the job done? Meanwhile, Ben Kelly managing this thing from the front like we've seen time and time again, and can't help but think when the white flag comes out, we're still going to see this level ramp up just a bit more.
No doubt about it. Even maybe just a tad bit more. The boys going to be going at it into this final lap of racing. So right here, where you see, this was home of something I think is very cool, and I'm sure you do too as a musician, Zach. This is where Summer Jam 73 back in 1973 was hosted. One of the biggest concerts still to this day in U.S. history. For a long time, it held the Guinness World Record for one of the biggest concert gatherings, or the biggest concert gathering in the United States. Look at that. Wow. Missing the front fender on that machine. Man.
But has not lost any position, really. So although it did look like Baylor had gotten back around him. So maybe did just lose that spot back to Stu Baylor. But, yeah, front fender now gone for Grant Davis.
Wow. So that is a bit of a shakeup. Something has definitely happened to him, whether it be a lap rider or a tree. Something has happened.
But, yeah, to your point there, Jackson, what started as 150,000 tickets sold turned into 600,000 people. That's hard to even quantify, I feel like, in your brain. But, yeah, we said we're going to try to beat it. If GNCC gets to come back to Watkins Glen, we're going to see if we can take it down. I'm completely making that up. Or am I? Who knows? Maybe we'll make it. We'll start it. The fans can get it started. Look at that. Josh Strang looks like maybe a little disappointed with that lapper.
It could have been acknowledging thank you for getting out of the way, or, hey, why didn't you get out of the way? But either way, the looks changed there. Some more lap riders working their way through as well. We did see Craig DeLong come through just behind Josh Strang, running in the number 11 spot.
Hey, speaking of it, there goes Caleb Russell making his way by now. But speaking of that summer jam, for any of our racers that are watching this back, if you see any old cars out in the woods, rumor has it, I was saying, I don't know if that rumor's true because a race car track, there's liable to be some cars in the woods. But nonetheless, as Jordan Ashburn now makes his way by, and Jason Tino following right behind him, they say that's where those old cars came from, was the summer jam. So I'm sure the boys flying by them. Jack Walker still in the mix here in this one.
Tino's opened up a bit of a gap, though. They were wheel to wheel in the last camera shot.
Yeah, Tino seeming like he's just getting stronger as this race is going on. He dropped back a little bit, and then now it's just going to move forward.
So how far ahead was Reardon at this point?
Reardon's a good ways out. I'd say probably 30 seconds plus. When they checked in last lap, his gap was 14 seconds, but it has definitely opened up from there. We'll have to wait until they check in at the white flag, which we're coming up on here in just a few miles.
Here we go, coming up on the final few miles, and going to be expecting to see a white flag as Ben Kelly continues to try to manage this thing from the front. Here we go, leaders on screen.
All of them.
Wow, look at that. Top 5 on screen, I should say.
Stu Baylor's now gotten around Ryder Lafferty as well, so he's charged up now to the number 4 spot. Back in 6th, he was able to get around Davis. Davis missing the front fender. Waiting and watching for the number 1, Ben Kelly, to pop out. There he is. Grant Baylor just behind him, then Liam Draper, then Stu Baylor, then Ryder Lafferty. So your top, oh, look at this. Grant Baylor trying to make a run at Ben Kelly and wrestle away that number 1 spot.
Man, and we've said it before, the days that Grant Baylor's on, he's just on, Jackson. It seems like there's almost nothing that can stop him.
We talk about him being a diesel and getting faster.
Stu.
There it is. So Stu now going to be in the 3rd place. Liam Draper back into the 4th place spot, and then it is Ryder Lafferty that is still holding on to a top 5 here in the XC1 division. But we talk about him being a diesel and picking up some steam there at the end of these races, and if he's right there right now, there's a good chance Grant Baylor could be going for that top spot.
Well, I'll tell you what's unique about this. Normally, it seems like when Grant has a good day, Stu typically isn't in the mix. It's rare that we see these two battling for potentially an overall win. Brother on brother, you know, they are now in the number 2 and 3 spots, that close. What you're seeing on screen, Ben Kelly leading the way. Grant Baylor in the number 2 spot. Stu Baylor, after dropping back, you can see that jersey sleeve just hanging behind him there, definitely making contact either with the tree or left rider. But now Stu Baylor is the rider on the attack, and the next rider in front of him is his little brother, Grant Baylor, and they are both looking at the leader right ahead of them. So this is not something we see often, but the Baylor brothers, just like we saw yesterday in Pro Motocross, both in the mix for the win here today.
How about it? Another set of siblings sit at the top level of a sport, and only Ben Kelly in front of them.
Not sure if you guys caught it or not there, but it looked like one of the Kawasaki team members going for a bit of a spill there as well when they were throwing the water on, tried to jump out of the way of Stu, and looked like they got caught up. So even the team can go through it out here at GNCC. It's definitely a team effort. I was actually talking to Jordan Ashburn's wife just a minute ago, and she was talking about how hard it can be to hand those water bottles off and whatnot.
How exciting is this? 6 riders physically in the same camera shot, working their way towards a white flag, a 1-lap shootout between 6 riders, with still Gus Reardon in the mix back there for the time correction for the overall. We're going to see just how that shakes out. I'll tell you what, with the pace these top 6 are pushing on screen, I don't know if Angus Reardon is still going to be up there in a podium position, but that's why we run the races. We'll wait and see. You see Stu Baylor almost making contact with that left rider on the inside just behind him. Liam Draper looking to capitalize, but Grant Baylor on an absolute charge right now. Going to take an outside line, try to get a run on Ben Kelly heading into the finish line chicane.
Here we go, going to hang a left one more time. Up the inside and makes the pass happen just before that lap rider. So Grant Baylor now going to take the lead right as they take the white flag. Ben Kelly and Stu Baylor, 1, 2, 3, and throw Liam Draper in there as well.
Don't forget about Ryder Lafferty.
I was just about to say the 336 tagging along too.
So there it is. Grant Baylor knows that if he didn't get around Ben Kelly soon, Stu Baylor would be making a move on him. And now Stu going to try to set his sights on the number 1 machine and catch back up to little brother.
Grant Baylor already starting to open up a few bike length lead over Ben Kelly. And Stu Baylor looking very impatient back there in the number 3 spot.
You can see a little glance over there from Ben Kelly. He knows the Baylor boys are hot on his heels. He's got one now in front of him.
That was a good drive from Ben Kelly to hold on to that inside line and not lose any ground.
Stu just barely able to get the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki stopped before having used that lap rider as a berm. So here we go. The Yamaha Racing live drone picks them back up. A look back from Grant Baylor. And now Stu got a little bit of a run up the inside.
And Kelly has had his hands full with this Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki team.
And been somewhat limited here. Got to protect those insides, but we've seen riders like Liam Draper make some passes around the outside.
Grant Davis still right there as well. Even Sans front fender. Who needs a front fender? He is just a few bike lengths. So a 6-rider battle for the lead on a final lap of GNCC. I don't know that we've ever seen this.
And that front fender is a big deal to a lot of riders. That maybe not the side, any of the other plastics they can go without, but that front fender will definitely bother some riders. Johnny pointing out Angus Reardon going to be making his way by.
Back to the top of the lap charts with a 25-26 lap time. Man, that is absolutely insane. Just when we think Gus Reardon may be out of the mix here, he showed up very quickly there in that camera shot, back to the overall lead from that XC2 class. Then it's Josh Strang with Craig DeLong battling it out back there in the number 10 and 11 spot. We've got Craig DeLong as an XC2 rider, but he's definitely signed up in XC1. Little miscue in our pylon there. Ryder Lafferty still right there. We should see Grant Davis coming minus the front fender just about. There he is. Davis on screen running in the number 7 spot overall, 6th in XC1. You can see leaders right there ahead of him, but the next rider through our camera shot will be Gus Reardon on that number 6 Phoenix Racing Honda, leading the way on the final lap. This could be a historic day for Angus Reardon if he's able to keep the pace. You can't see those riders, but you know he's getting pit boards, and he is within that 1 minute window and potentially looking down the barrel of his first ever GNCC overall win.
Man, how about that? What a impressive ride from this gentleman right here, the Phoenix Racing Honda of Angus Reardon. And Gus been able to pick the pace back up. I'm actually surprised. I didn't think there was any way with those guys battling that hard up front.
And just looking at the running order in the elapsed time, he has an 18.5-second buffer right now. So it's not like he's just barely holding the lead. So he has some time to work with on this one.
Phoenix Honda, if he pulls this off, you better stop that man down at the finish line so we can get a word in with him. Yes. I know we don't get to talk to our XC2 a lot, but if he is able to get up on the top of these charts, we have got to hear it from Angus.
Jackson, we're going to put that ball in your court.
Yeah. Yes, I'm going. Don't you worry. I will. I'll pull him off of the machine if we got to. We have got to hear about this one.
Man, and going to have quite a story to tell, as this has been a dogfight already for 2.5 hours. As the white flag now underway, the final lap of racing here from Watkins Glen. As look at this, was that a move from Stu Baylor, now getting around Ben Kelly up the inside.
And look at that, Zach, already able to put a few bike links between them, and they better keep the train rolling. They've got a couple more riders behind them.
Watch out, folks. We got a Baylor on Baylor battle. 1 and 2 right now out of the XC1 class, and sitting 2 and it would now be 3 in the overall rankings. Oh, okay, I thought that was our leaders.
Well, the question was asked by our producer, Adam Gordon, would there be any kind of accommodations given potentially by Grant Baylor with Stu Baylor trying to ride his way back into this championship? I can answer that question definitively. Absolutely not. Grant Baylor, if he has the opportunity to win this race today, he is going to race clean, but as hard as he would anyone else to try to win this race today, a win for Grant Baylor would be absolutely huge here in 2026. And we are going to see the best of both worlds here. Big brother coming from the back. He was sitting there back outside near the top 10 at one point, now up into the number 2 spot. But again, they are still racing. Gus Reardon on the clock, and they need to make up 18 seconds on this final lap of racing with just about 8 miles left.
Well, and just like you talked about, Johnny, the XC1 class based off of those overall positionings as well. So this affects points, as there you see. Was that Grant Baylor?
That was.
Liam Draper.
Yeah, big.
So something has already happened again.
Stu back to 4th.
Wow.
Grant Davis has made up some ground. He is now in the number 6 spot with Ryder Lafferty still there in 5th. So every time we think we have this one figured out, Stu Baylor up to the number 2 spot now has dropped back to 5th in just one camera shot.
The only thing I know to say is how. How did that happen? I can't.
Boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
This is GNCC at its finest. We're getting fired up here in the Racer TV booth. The fans here at round number 8, they're fired up. We can hear the train horns just outside of the TV truck over in the pro pits. This is going to be a barn burner. There he is, the man with the plan.
He has not lost much, if any time at all. It is still going to be Angus Reardon leading the way on this one uncorrected time. Now, folks at home, keep in mind, we do not have the official exact split start time, so that is all done by the computer and being monitored by multiple people, so that we will need to confirm that when he crosses the finish line. But Josh Strang back there as well, still riding strong in that number 10 spot. Craig DeLong giving him all he can handle there in 11th. But look at these lap times.
25-26 for Reardon. Baylor, though, a 25-22, a 25-17 for Stu Baylor, though. How about that? So it looks like on that chart, Stu, the fastest man on the move.
But that still is only 9 seconds difference than Reardon there. And like you were saying, Johnny, it's going to take more than 9 seconds to knock him off. Double that.
Yeah, they need 18 seconds.
How about it? Gus Reardon with some time to play with. We waited for your leaders here at the 3-mile mark. And at this point, I'm not even going to say who I think it is, because it seems like every time we look,
I'm going to go with Grant Baylor.
It's been shaken up. I'm not going to argue with you there. I think, and especially it seems like 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all now battling really, really close. Grant, may be able to try to run away with this.
We know Gus can get this done because he's been the rider that has been right there along with Grant the entire time he was making those XC2 wins. Gus was, and Cody Barnes, he was right there with all of them, and just getting a little bit of that shine taken away from Grant Davis there, as Davis was able to pick up the wins, and normally it was just 1 spot difference between the two.
Yeah, and you know, Angus does have some overall podiums last year out of that XC2 class.
He does.
But never an overall win. Grant Davis was able to get that done. Cody Barnes coming so close at the Penton, I believe 3 seconds was the difference. Caleb Russell wrestling that one away on the final lap. But now it's Gus Reardon with his time to shine with an 18-second lead on corrected time from that XC2 class on the final lap of racing.
What a day it would be for Angus, his whole family, and the Phoenix Racing team if he's able to pull this off. This would make back-to-back XC2 wins, regardless of how the overall shakes up, and to have some of his family here doing it, and just a way of showing this is what I've been working for, this is what I've been doing in America.
And would bring him to a tie for the lead in that championship chase for the XC2 class. And here comes the rest of the train. It was still Grant Baylor leading the way. In the number 2 spot, Liam Draper looking very racy, all the way back to Grant Davis in the number 6 spot. Any one of these could come out on top at the end of the day here.
Yeah, it's anybody's guess. Throw them in a hat, and it's anybody's guess.
We'll wait and watch. As long as we see Gus Reardon coming through here relatively soon, he should still be our overall leader on corrected time from that XC2 class. We'll be looking for the number 6 on the Phoenix Racing Honda. Might be the next rider coming through, and it is still charging. At this point, looking at the lead that he has all the way back to Jason Tino, near a minute, 59 seconds. So at this point, he's racing for more than an XC2 win. He's a smart rider, so he's not going to take any unnecessary risks, but you know he is flat out doing everything he can to try to gain this overall win, in addition to what's seeming to be minus a big mistake, an XC2 win for him here today.
Well, and on top of that, you got to think for the moment he's by himself. He's not under any immediate pressure. He's not towing off of anybody either. So 100% kind of doing it on his own as far as finding that speed. And I'm sure the pit board's kind of cheering him on, but it's hard to just look at numbers and be able to really associate that.
That can be so difficult at times, though, because, you know, if the riders out front physically on the racetrack pick up the pace, it can be hard to read when they do that. So all you can really do is go as fast as you think you need to. And if they ratchet up that intensity, he won't know until he gets a pit board that he's losing time. It's racing a ghost, man. It's so difficult.
Big shout out to our friends at Progressive Insurance. I know you guys got a lot of nice toys there at GNCC and off-road racing. And those of you at home, if you've got things that you want to protect, whether it's your pet, your RV, your motorcycle, ATV, the list goes on and on. EMTB is now available to insure, courtesy of Progressive as well. You scan the QR code on your screen, and you can save up to hundreds by switching to our friends over at Progressive Insurance. So, Jackson, I know you're a longtime Progressive user there. Said you saved a bunch of money with them.
Oh, yeah. Truck, camper, business, you name it. Progressive is always going to be my first go-to for any of my insurance needs. Even just got my house insured the other day, actually, being a big boy. But, Johnny, I know you saw Jack Walker, I believe that was, making his way through.
Yep, Jack Walker. We did see Jason Tino come through in the number 2 spot, and also we did see our points leader in the XC1 or in the overall running. Look at this. Now Stu Baylor has gotten back just every time we think we haven't figured out, forget it. Stu Baylor back up to the number 2 spot. Grant Baylor still leading the way, and Grant Davis still back there in the number 6 spot, just behind Ryder Lafferty and Ben Kelly. So I don't even know what the running order at this point.
It's changed already.
We'll figure it out at the finish line.
Ignore that pylon on the left because they've passed each other 83 times. We do know Grant Baylor leading the way. Stu Baylor definitely in the number 2 spot. Liam Draper 3rd. 4th now would be Ben Kelly, and Ryder Lafferty 5th, and Grant Davis 6th in the XC1 class. But Angus Reardon, the next rider through our camera here, just on cue on the number 6 Phoenix Racing Honda, reaching for a little bit of hydration, getting warmer out there today, especially on this final lap of racing, as he is flat out trying to track down not only the XC2 win, but his first ever career overall GNCC win. What a huge day this could be for Reardon.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And taking a look at the race clock here, 2 hours and 43 minutes into this one, it should be just right at maybe a minute under a 3-hour race here, as just a minute under 15 minutes left to go. So just a little over 14 minutes left here in this one.
Seeing Strang and DeLong going at it still at this point. And another rider there behind him, could tell. Don't believe that was Russell. So we'll wait for the 5:57 of Caleb Russell, who won the last time we were GNCC racing here in New York. There you see the AmPro Yamaha. Still solid on the charge, and next up should be, there is Jason Tino.
Oh, you can
hard
see
on
that
throttle.
Right. That throttle hand was absolutely locked, revving, letting that lap rider know he's coming through, and that would now put Angus Reardon and Jason Tino tied for the XC2 points lead, unless this rider, Jack Walker, can get back up to Jason Tino and make the move. That would leave him coming into the race as the co-points leader, drop him back to the number 3 spot. And Jordan Ashburn with the lead of, I forget how many points coming into the day today.
17 points.
Yeah, 17 points over Liam Draper, sitting back there in the number 13 spot overall would mean 8 points. So he would give up 22 points to the race leader. Depending on who that is at the end of the day, we could see Liam Draper take over the overall points lead.
Yeah, and take that back. It's actually only 9 points. It's closer. I believe 17 may actually be our XC1.
Yeah, that's
Bryson Neal's
over White
lead. Yep.
Going into the day yesterday.
Yes, exactly. So now 9 points, all that separates Ashburn and Draper at the top of the XC1 bike field.
So as they run, Liam Draper, if they finish in this order, would be your points leader.
I want to give some shout-outs here to some of our amateur riders. Open A, Cole Whitmer getting the job done right now. Van Adams and Caleb Baltimore, your top 3. Will Stephen Piper and Keegan Needler getting the job done in the top 5 spots. There's the man, once again, Angus Reardon, making his way through at the mile 5 marker.
So you're getting cheered on by some of the Phoenix Racing Honda staff.
Flat out, all he's got. Yep. You could see it getting bounced off the seat there and just absolutely throttle locked on that Honda CRF 250, that Phoenix Racing Honda CRF 250, pushing that machine and himself to the limits in search of the ultimate prize.
You can see the amateur riders down there on the pylon as Strang and DeLong make their way through, and most of those riders are going to be coming through. Out of our 250A, we got Hunter Smith, Cooper Jones, Michael DeLozier, your top 3, with Lane Whitmer and Colton Shields, your top 5 there for that 250A division.
So Gavin Simon, for the moment, hanging on to that final spot inside the top 20. Like I said a little bit earlier, saw a post there from Gavin, a big cut deep in the palm of the hand sustained earlier this week. So sure, probably not the most comfortable race that he's had.
4-stroke A lights is a Moncio in the top spot. Harwell and Baisley top 3. Amos and Fostini rounding out our top 5. Jason Tino on screen now. And for our 150A class, Kyle Grinowic's getting the job done over Colton McQuarrie and Landon Barker. Charlie Simpson and Justin Havens rounding out the top 5. Want to give them boys some love.
So how about it, back to the Yamaha Racing live drone and back to second place for the 514 of Stu Baylor, physically on track. There is the Grizzly, Grant Baylor, dipping back off into the woods. There's Big Brother, and he's got Liam Draper still hot on his heels.
And we are being told a 10-second lead now for Gus Reardon on corrected time. So they have shaved off 8 seconds of his overall lead here on the final lap of racing. But you know he's getting pit boards and letting him know that he needs to wick up the pace with just about less than half a lap remaining. Has he done enough? Will he be able to claim his first ever overall victory? And the crazy part is, as close as those riders are, if he falls out of that lead position, we could see him fall back to 7th overall.
Yep. Yeah, it's getting down to tenths of seconds for positioning here, as close as our top riders are. And just like you said, with the Baylor boys pushing each other on, I don't know, it's shrinking at the moment. We'll put it like that. It's going to come down to those final few miles.
I think when we see Angus Reardon pop out of the woods here on camera in just a moment, lap riders obviously in the mix, but if he has open track, we are going to see an absolute sprint. This is going to look like yesterday's moto race from Hangtown. He's going to be blowing up berms. He's going to be wide open, knowing, there you see it, just full push pace, not leaving any fractions of a second, knowing it may come down to just that. Do we have a new leader?
That was definitely Draper around.
Did we miss
Stu.
Baylor? Okay.
Must have missed.
So Liam Draper now up to the number 2 spot.
So just like that, Stu finds himself trying to claw himself back into the number 2 spot. Meanwhile, Grant kind of trying to sneak away a little bit. Seems like every time we flash back to him, he's another bike length ahead.
Far enough ahead this time that our cameraman missed him. That is absolutely flying out there for Grant Baylor right now. Is he able to make up that additional 10 seconds to earn not only the XC1 win, but cut out there for a moment, but he does need to make up an additional 10 seconds, what we're being told by our track spotters at the moment, to eclipse the next rider we should see through our camera shot here. Angus Reardon leading the way throughout so much of this race, not only in that XC2 class, but overall leader on screen, on corrected time by about an estimated 10 seconds, and you can see just how hard he's pushing here.
Yeah, there's no, and he's got no choice at this point. Anything that you've got left, and I'm sure that's exactly what the Phoenix Honda crew is communicating to him. Hey, at this point, you can be tired after the finish line. We've shown it. We can interview you on the ground. Gus, you just got to get there. As we still see Liam Draper in front of Stu Baylor. Flash forward to bottom of the screen. There is Grant Baylor continuing to put a little bit of time between himself and second and third, and trying to climb ever so close to an overall win, not just an XC1 win here today.
Look at the gap he has opened up.
Oh, Stu almost coming together with the bottom of the fence there. Tries to cut back underneath. Draper just eating roost. And as those little dots you can see on your screen, those are rocks, and they are getting thrown at a high rate of speed. Stu cuts down right there. He's going to try to go for it. Lap rider going to try to stay out of the way.
Draper really in a defensive mode right now. He's not close enough to go after Grant Baylor at the moment, but he has to defend this second place position from Stu Baylor, because these two have passed each other about 86 million times in the last 2 laps.
No doubt about it. At this point, not even an exaggeration. Oh, down the hill, you see the back end of the Yamaha dancing around as they dip back out of sight. Ben Kelly still hanging back there, and then, oh man,
Ryder Lafferty, Grant Davis.
Davis getting a little squirrely there across that little drainage ditch.
See if we stay with this camera shot. Wait and watch for our overall leader out of that XC2 class, leading the way in that one, the number 6 of Angus Reardon, Phoenix Racing Honda. About 10 seconds to play with is his gap, and still waiting and watching. This one's going to be close, Zach.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like every camera shot, we're like, it's hard to tell whether he's making any time up, even if he's just maintaining. But at this point, I think he's losing time.
I think the gap is opening up. He was much closer earlier on in the lap, but has he lost more? We know he lost 8 seconds, but now we are getting very close to him potentially falling out of that overall position, as we don't get to. It's not based off us. It's based off of the computer scoring. But that man right there, Grant Baylor, may have done enough. Look at this now. Liam Draper and Stu Baylor
starting to push up.
Down, and Ben Kelly's still there as well. Ryder Lafferty's still there, and Grant Davis still right in the mix here at the 8-mile marker. A few miles remaining, a lot of open fields, a lot of passing opportunities. this one is going to come right down to the wire.
Man, I mean, we've had close racing before, but this level, as far as the amount of riders in the mix, I mean, we can see the entire podium change between now and the checkered flag.
What was the word that Adam Gordon used earlier? Terrifying.
Terrifying, yes.
Exhilarating.
Yes. Certainly fun to watch right here on Racer TV, no doubt about it, as the riders enter the final few miles of racetrack. Jackson Burrell headed down to be ready to get those post-race thoughts. And we just get to sit back and enjoy it right here from the 8-mile mark.
Waiting and watching for what was our overall leader, Gus Reardon, looking like he has lost a little bit more time in these last few camera shots. We'll see if we can get a split.
Yeah, if OPAG or anybody in race control can get us the exact split between rows 1 and 2, we'll see exactly how much time the difference is that Gus has got to play with, but it's coming down to a matter of seconds at this point, Johnny.
Yeah, and like we talked about, it because the running order of the top 6 physically on the racetrack is so close, if Angus Reardon falls out of that lead position on correct time, we could see him drop back as far as 7th overall, or he could do enough in these final few miles and win the whole thing.
All right, so we will watching and waiting as here comes Caleb Russell.
We did see Craig DeLong and Josh Strang checked her as well. You do see Jason Tino and Jack Walker ahead of them in the running order, and they are just behind them on track out of that XC2 class.
So 1 minute and 10 seconds
is the gap right now, and I believe it was right at a 1 minute split, so meaning that now Grant Baylor has done enough. And if you think 10 seconds, that's going to drop him somewhere in the 5th, 6th place position overall if the split is exactly that when they cross the finish line. So it looks like maybe the top 4 or 5 in XC1 have picked up the pace enough on this final lap of racing that they are going to potentially displace Gus Reardon, but we won't know until they cross the checkered flag.
So here we go, coming down to the final few stretches of race course as we look for, there he is, the Grizzly, Grant Baylor. There is Liam Draper, Stu Baylor in the number 3 spot. And they are on the charge. Woo. You can see just how choppy and rough it is right there as the Yamaha dances underneath Liam Draper.
There is Baylor out front leading the way. Draper in second and Stu Baylor in the number 3 spot, glued to each other as they're working their way through lap traffic.
You see that one rider giving him the wave.
I believe that's Colton McQuarrie, the leader of that 150A class, going a lap down as they come to the final miles of this final lap of racing. Just ahead on track, we see Grant Baylor leading the way. Now we believe in the overall as well as the XC1 class, taking a look over his shoulder, and he sees big brother Stu Baylor with Liam Draper in between. So this one is going to come right down to the final corners.
Here we go, folks. If you're not there, you better make your way to the finish line. You do not want to miss this. It's all going to come down to the last few miles of racetrack. Stu Baylor now within just a couple of bike lengths of Liam Draper. Meanwhile, little bro Grant out front leading the way.
Draper starting to look a little more aggressive now, seeing that he has just a bike length or so, and Stu Baylor opening up those corners, trying to carry more speed and close the gap down. So the hunter has become the hunted.
Meanwhile, Grant trying to slice his way through lap traffic. As they are putting in a last push to the finish line.
Look at the lap riders. You can almost hear the revs.
Oh, good line there from Stu. Carried a ton of momentum through that corner. And right back to the rear wheel goes the 514.
Grant Baylor out and into the final section of racetrack. Liam Draper protecting those insides, but Stu Baylor doing everything he can to try to square him up. And this is the battle for the lead. These are the final corners. Grant Baylor leading the way. Liam Draper in second, and Stu Baylor charging. He's got to run around the outside of Liam Draper.
It all comes down to this, 2 hours and 58 minutes. The final few corners of racing, the fans right there. 1 corner left to go, and it will be the Grizzly Grant Baylor grabbing the first ever XC1 win here from Watkins Glen. Liam Draper and Stu Baylor gonna cross the line in the number 2 and 3 position. And how about it?
See, congratulations,
yes.
Big brother Stu. Waiting on our 3rd place rider to check in. There it is, Ben Kelly, Grant Davis crossing the line, 4th place, Ben Kelly, 5th place, Grant Davis.
Shout out to Ryder Lafferty as well.
They're in the number 6 spot. And where will Gus Reardon check in with an 18-second lead starting this final lap of racing? Leaders picked up the pace, and we are told it was 1 minute and 10 seconds. Here comes Reardon. This is it, the final section of racetrack. Has he done enough? Where will he slot in the running order? Will he grab his first ever overall victory? Or did Grant Baylor, Liam Draper, Stu Baylor, and how many riders were able to do enough? We're going to find out here in a matter of just about another 2 corners. He's pushing for all he's worth.
All out sprint right now for the Phoenix Racing Honda. Angus Reardon trying to bring it home for not just a class win, but the OA as well. The Phoenix crew cheering him on. 1 corner left to go. He'll cross the checkered flag right now. Refresh, refresh.
Angus Reardon, 6th place overall.
Wow.
He sprinted that last lap, but just couldn't quite hold the pace of our top 5. 6th place overall for Angus Reardon. Still a great day, taking the win in that XC2 class and tying himself for the points lead with either Jason Tino or Jack Walker. We'll wait and see who crosses the finish line second in that XC2 class. They should be coming in here in just about a minute. But Grant Baylor officially, your inaugural winner here at the Watkins Glen International Speedway for the first visit here for GNCC Racing. So while it is a Baylor grabbing the win, the first time in a NASCAR Speedway, this time it's Grant Baylor getting in on the action. Big brother Stu Baylor in the number 3 spot, rounding out the overall podium.
What a finish coming down to the final few feet of racetrack, and then in more anxious waiting for Gus to cross the line. A fantastic effort from all involved, but is that man on your screen, Grant Baylor, who gets the job done for the first time ever here at Watkins Glen. We've got our very own Jackson Burrow down there, gonna step in here in just a moment.
I think we did just see Jason Tino check in the number 2 spot in that XC2 class, which is going to put him 8th place overall on corrected time, 1 minute and 3 seconds behind Angus Reardon. And it will be those 2 riders heading into Snowshoe in 3 weeks, tied for the points lead in that XC2 class.
Well, how about that? A big fist bump and a smile from Grant Baylor as he's getting things set up. Sounds like we've got Jackson Burrow standing by with the first ever winner here from Watkins Glen.
I am standing by here with Grant Baylor, our overall winner. Man, it seems like the Baylor boys got something figured out here at the NASCAR track. How's it feel to take the win here at Watkins Glen for the inaugural?
Man, this feels, I don't know how to feel. This is awesome. Yeah, I came into the season not even with a ride. So yeah, this one's for all the guys who didn't believe in me, and yeah, I still got it. So I told you guys I still had it, and here's the proof. So yeah, it was an awesome day out here, man. I freaking love the terrain up here in New York. I've been missing coming up here for the last few years. So yeah, it was just awesome out here. Some really good technical terrain, kind of separated the men from the boys today. So yeah, I was able to come through the pack, and I've been struggling to do that all year, just struggling to get the bike off the line, and then struggling to get through the pack because the way the trail's been laid out, they put that white string out there so much that, you know, it just makes it to where we can't even race each other. So this race today was awesome. The guys did a really good job with the trail and made some really good racing out there. So yeah, I couldn't be more pumped, and I got to give it up to the whole Rocky Mountain SOS Red Bear team, and being our engines, man, that freaking thing's a rocket ship. You know, these other bikes out here, they're not even close. So got to give it up to those guys for building that engine and giving me that beast. And yeah, the whole team, everybody that puts in a hand out here, everybody from my brother to his wife to the Renningers that drive the truck and cook everything. So yeah, and my girlfriend Brooke, all she does, man, she's my rock here. So yeah, Redline, Pirelli tires, Factory Connection, SOS, Environmental, Golf, Yoshimura, Trammell tires, Cherubies, Instant 360, JD Higgins, XC Gear, ASV levers, MSR, Sunoco fuels, and Helmet House, Shoei helmets, and Forma boots. And yeah, everybody else that was cheering me on out there, all my friends and family, and all the guys out here supporting me. That was awesome. You guys gave me that little bit of motivation to get through that last lap. I was doing all I could to get to the finish, man. That last lap was crazy. I was running into the guys left and right. It was just, I was finally the first guy on the trail, so those guys were kind of struggling when they, being the first guy coming around them, they were kind of struggling getting out of the way. I would go to make a pass on the right, and they would decide to move as soon as I was coming around them, and I ended up tangling up with a guy there on the last lap, and Stewart got around me, and man, 2 corners later, he balled it up, so I was like, heck yeah, back in the lead. So if that wouldn't have happened, probably wouldn't have got back around Big Brother, because yeah, the track, once we got there towards the last couple laps, everybody was on the good lines, and it was a little harder to pass those last couple laps, so definitely want to struggle to get back around him. So yeah, I'm pumped.
Grant, that was quite the ride. That was quite the last lap. We'll let you soak it in. That is Grant Baylor, everybody, your overall winner.
Well, Zach, do you think there's a little bit of emotion coming out of Grant Baylor right now? Normally a man of very few words. But he had a lot to say there, and you can see this one means not just a lot. This one means everything to him, saying, hey, I didn't even have a ride coming into the season. Now here I am. Look at me, race winner.
Without a doubt, and it's so great to see. It kind of reminds me of Lane McCormick earlier this season saying the same thing. A lot of people wrote me off. A lot of people said I was done, and I didn't even need to respond or argue it. I'm going to let the proof be in the pudding, as they like to say. And yeah, like you said, Grant, not really one to talk a ton, always super friendly, but a man of few words. And at this point, I'm excited. I'm excited for these podium celebrations coming up. And I think it's always cool to see the underdog story here at GNCC get to go up against the best.
Absolutely. And I believe the next rider will try to catch up with. We'll see who Jackie Legs is able to grab a hold of. We do have Liam Draper down there finishing out the day in the number 2 spot overall, and would be our new points leader as they finished, I do believe. So we'll see if Jackson is down there with Liam Draper, but Stu Baylor, also a good points day for him in the number 3 spot, making up quite a few points on our points leader, Jordan Ashburn.
No doubt about it. Sounds like Jackson Burrow stands by with our new XC1 points leader and 2nd overall, Liam Draper.
I sure am standing by with Liam Draper. I'm not sure if you can hear the voice or not, but they're talking about how you are the new points leader here in the XC1 class. How does that sound, Liam? Take us through your day.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I had a pretty bad round at power line there. I was up front and then just, fell off the pace. And we did a lot of homework the last couple of weeks, and I put in a lot of work and did some testing with FC, and it paid off. And Zacho got me tuned in, and we tried some different supplements just to help with my body towards the end of the race. And it paid off. GB and Stu, they were ripping towards the end, and it was a matter of who could get through the Lapis clean. It was the worst Lapis situation I've ever seen at a race.
That was one of the craziest last laps I might have ever saw at a GNCC race. It was anybody's guess when y'all came into the next camera shot who was going to be in what spot. What was going through your head in that last lap? What was the plan there?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like roll the dice. You'd catch them in packs of 3, and one would go one way, one would go the other, and stop Grant, stop me, stop Stu. It was just it was a gamble, really, who could get through. And super stoked with today. And white plates look pretty cool.
Yeah, going to be rolling into Snowshoe for our next round. Liam, what's the plan going into it, and especially being the new points leader?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, man, I want to get that first win so bad. It was close today. It was wheel to wheel for 3 hours, it felt like. But excited for Snowshoe, have a good race, and go into summer with the head down, and come back for these last 4 GNCCs after the break.
There it is. Congratulations on a good day. Liam Draper, 2nd place here at Watkins Glen.
Well, Zach, shades of 2022.
Yep.
As now Liam Draper, your overall points leader, without yet having won a race, and sounds a lot like Jordan Ashburn ultimately winning that championship. So this guy's in a great position and riding very well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And just like we said at the top of the show, I think it almost catches some people off guard when you point the fact out that he doesn't have an XC1 win yet because he's been in the conversation for so long. And we know it's a matter of when, not if. So really great stuff there from Liam Draper. But another big talking point here, this one, we knew he's fast at the NASCAR circuit. Sounds like it's a hereditary thing. The whole family's got figured out. But Stu Baylor turns it into a third-place finish. He stands by with Jackson Burrell.
Yeah, standing by now with Stu Baylor. Stu, man, that was a wild race there. Take us through it from your point of view.
Yeah, it was really frustrating. Right before the start, I looked at my mechanic and said, this thing's not going to start. I'm screwed. And, man, I'm pissed. That's something we can do better on. And, you know, I rely on people really heavily. I know when I start up front, I win. And I'm thoroughly pissed. That and the clutch was gone all day. I was clutch to the bars. Same shit we've been dealing with for 3 years, but yet everybody sits around, scratches their head. My team works hard. We bust our ass to be up here every single week. And, yeah, it was just really frustrating. You know, obviously some mistakes out there. I think I hit every single lapper. The lappers dictated the race today. You know, on the last lap, I don't know how much you guys got to see, but there was about 7 or 8 lead changes. I went from 5th to 1st in 4 turns, and then went down with a lapper and went right back to 4th again. So, yeah, it was mentally frustrating with a start like we had. Kind of blew myself out getting to the front, tried to pace for a second, and then it was lapper after lapper. Liam and I were just talking about it, but yeah, it was frustrating, man. When you work this hard and you rely on other people to do their job and you're doing yours, it just pisses you off when they don't. So I'm throwing that out there because I am fired up. I know I'm the best guy right now. We're crawling back into this championship. I'm full steam ahead. If everybody else matches that, we'll win this damn thing.
All right, here's Stu. Well, we did miss you going down there and going out of the lead, but nonetheless, we also missed what's happened here with the jersey. Take us through this. We saw this. We were worried if you're even going to have a jersey by the end of it.
Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot left. Man, the lappers up here, I don't know if they're not used to getting passed by guys like us, the caliper rider, but man, they dictated the race today. They were not giving an inch. They were holding their line, and 9 times out of 10, just the way the trails have been lately, there's really one fast line. So when racing's as tight as it is, you know, everybody gets to that lapper, you just try to figure out what the line's going to be, and the lappers, man, they dictated the race today. So the jersey today is all from lappers here and all over. So yeah, I don't think it was anything self-inflicted there, but just, man, it was chaos out there. We were talking about it, Liam and I there at the end. But yeah, I mean, I thought Grant threw it away on the last lap. He got in front of everybody, got the lead. I pulled up to 2nd, and then lapper cleaned him out there around the 6-mile marker, and I was like, man, this might be it for him. And he lost, I think, all 3 positions he had just gained, but luckily he was able to shake it back off. I went down with another lapper, and Liam tangled with a guy, and he was right back to the front again. So, but man, it was fun racing. It was great. Give it up to the good Lord for keeping us safe. Redline Oil, Rocky Mountain, Kawasaki, Pirelli tires, SOS, factory connection suspension. My stuff has been dialed all year. Environmental Golf, Yoshimura, Trammell Tire Pros, Cherubies, Insta 360, JD Higgins, XC Gear, ASV, MSR, Sunoco, CD Boots, Shoei Helmets, the guys over at Specialized, John Ayers and them for all they do, my whole team, everybody that works so hard. And like I said, we're busting our ass. If everybody in our corner does the same, we're going to win this thing.
Stu, before I let you go, you put on quite the show last year at Snowshoe. How you feeling? What's the thoughts going into it?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. We ride really well there, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. It sucks that we're 1 round shy for the championship this year, but today was okay for points. Given those couple positions up after I got back to the lead again, that was mentally frustrating. But yeah, just had a deck of cards stacked against us. I didn't have a clutch pretty much all day, and yeah, it's tough when stuff like that happens. So,
no doubt. Well, we look forward to seeing you up on the mountain, everybody. That is 3rd place, Stu Baylor.
So Stu Baylor going to go back and talk to the folks over at MSR. Bring out the new tank top jersey. Right. I think going to be just in time for summer. He can certainly pull it off. But no, all jokes aside, obviously a bit of a frustrated Stu there, but just goes to show even when things do pop up, the guy is, we talk about the tank, just unwavering. He's able to charge through those things and overcome obstacles that get thrown at him.
Yeah, and you never have to wonder what he's thinking.
Also, very nice. I'm not even joking. That is kind of nice from us, from our standpoint. Stu keeps it real on and off on the mic and on the bike, as I like to say. But sounds like another person keeping it real and actually sticking around for us. Excited to be able to catch up with this guy after such an impressive ride. Our XC2 winner, Angus Reardon, should be standing by. I think Jackson trying to catch up with him. And we've got him. There it is. Gus Reardon. Jackson, take it away.
Yeah, Gus standing by with me. Gus, what a race you had here today. Going into that white flag lap, you had the overall lead, but the XC1 boys, they were on an absolute brawl that last lap. But take us through it from your point of view. Take us through leading a lot of the overalls and then ultimately getting the XC2 win.
Yeah, I think I had the overall until half a lap to go, but it's hard. I was in no man's land. I couldn't really see anyone else ahead of me, and the lappers were in their own little world. But yeah, no excuses. Just the boys put 15 seconds on me, and that's all it was. Put me back to 6 overall, but that's all right. I won my class. That's the main goal. And yeah, sort of 3 to go. I passed Jack back for the lead, and then 2 to go. I put in a good sprint. I got around some XC1 boys and put that gap in, and then I was getting the pit boards P1 overall, and I thought if I've got it, I've got it. If not, no big deal. But yeah, fun day.
How's it feel to get 2 in a row here in the XC2 and with Mom over here in the States with you?
Yeah, it's good having Mum here. She leaves on Wednesday, so I'll be solo after that. But yeah, no, it was good to go back to back. Had a bit of shit luck at the start of the year, but good to get the train rolling. And back in I think I've equal points now. There was multiple times where I thought I was done. I thought championship gone, but back in the hunt, and yeah, I'm hungry for it.
You're in the fight. How you feel going up to the mountain on snowshoe?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I need to make it my hill this year. Seems to kick me in the ass the last few, but ready to have a dip.
There it is, Angus Reardon, your XC2 winner.
I love it. Glad Gus stuck around for us. An incredible ride there for sure. And like you said, came down to that final half to quarter of a lap or so to find out who was going to walk away with our overall win.
Yeah, Sandy gave up about 15 seconds on that last, dropping all the way from the overall lead back to the 6th place spot in the overall when it was all said and done. But as he pointed out, still grabbing the win in that XC2 class, tying himself for the overall points lead in that class for the season, and putting himself right in the mix after some rough races early on in the season. He's right back tied for the points lead in that XC2 class.
No doubt about it. Let's take a look at the specialized race here from the AMSOIL Watkins Glen GNCC. A great drive up the inside for Craig DeLong, but it was Jordan Ashburn who snuck up the inside. I was standing right beside it. It was about half a tire length. He got the whole shot. Jordan Ashburn turned it into a great start. You saw Mike Wachowski up there early as well. And the Phoenix Honda boys were trying to put it to the rest of the field. We see the XC2 row off and rolling as well. We know Toby Cleveland always hot off the line, but Jack Walker able to get pivoted a bit quicker and get that 2-stroke power underneath him and would grab the XC2 whole shot. But like we were saying, the Phoenix Honda boys jumping off to a really quick start and looking very early on like they were going to try to run away. Meanwhile, the Baylor brothers having their own issues, some trees here, sleeves getting ripped, trees getting hugged there, and not part of the plan, but ultimately looked like it worked out for him.
Yeah, you can see that was a hard hit. He kind of rode off. You can see he was laboring a bit there, but ultimately recovering, getting himself back in the mix. But up front, it was the Phoenix Racing Honda boys, as well as Ben Kelly, Craig DeLong, Grant Davis, really almost all of the XC1 riders in the mix early on in this one. And then it was Mike Wachowski getting to the front of the field and starting to march away. And then all of a sudden, we see Wachowski dropping back. We see Jordan Ashburn dropping back. And it was Ben Kelly to the front. Separate miscues for each of the Phoenix Racing Honda riders. And Ben Kelly started to march away with it for a little bit.
Yeah, Ben Kelly definitely started to have his time up front. Grant Davis did as well. But it seemed like those opening laps, the leader out front in the first few miles of the lap would end up having some kind of mistake and lose the position. So Ben Kelly, the benefactor of that, and the Diesel, as we like to call him, he was warmed up and primed at this point. Really started to march forward. Grant Davis doing all that he could to try to keep his hook sank into him. Great shot there as the 2 KTM boys tried to march away, but then you have riders like this. Stu Baylor, power move around the outside, and we thought that was going to be the start of older Stu Baylor moving to the front, but it was his younger brother late in the race that would really start the main charge.
Yeah, and Ben Kelly staying in the mix throughout this one. Obviously, coming off an injury just a few rounds ago, looking much stronger here today, keeping himself in the mix all the way down to the final lap. But Stu Baylor leading for a while, and it was leading over the KTM boys of Kelly and Davis in the 2nd and 3rd spot. Then it was Kelly back to the front. Stu Baylor talking about some contact with trees multiple times and left riders. And the whole time lurking back there, Gus Reardon, Jack Walker, and Jason Tino all in the mix for those top 3 overall positions. But as it went to pit stop time, things really started to heat up.
No doubt about it. When it came down to it, Grant Baylor kept the momentum charging and took the lead right as they took the white flag. And then you could take the whole rest of the race, throw it in the trash. Pretty much your top 6 all right there in a row, with Gus Reardon in no man's land, as he said, trying to keep that overall lead on adjusted time with no one to pace off of.
Yep, and Reardon, you can see just charging, but he said he just was in no man's land, couldn't see what was going on. We had Liam Draper up in the mix with the Baylor boys as well. Ben Kelly sitting back there. Ryder Lafferty, got to give him a shout out. A great ride here today, up in the mix. Battle for the win right down to the final miles.
No doubt about it. We saw at the 8-mile mark, Baylor had the spot. Stu Baylor had worked his way back to the number 3 ride, and Liam Draper was not looking to give it up. When the checkered flag came out, it was the Grizzly. Grant Baylor getting the job done. Liam Draper and Stu Baylor right behind him, 1, 2, and 3.
What a day.
What a battle. Yeah, what do you say at this point? That was such a good run, and such a good way to close out what has been close racing just like this all weekend long. I said it at the start of the show, I'll say it again. This has been what Watkins Glen has delivered. We watched, we waited, refreshed, and what was the overall lead with just a couple of miles to go, only a matter of seconds, pushed Gus Reardon back to 6th overall, maintains that XC2 lead and win, but just not quite enough to jump up on the overall podium. Well, we take a look here at we want to thank you all for joining us here on Racer TV. We want to hand out some big thank yous. There we go. Okay, I wanted to give our Rocky Mountain ATV-MC top 10, as it was Grant Baylor leading the way, getting the win. Liam Draper and Stu Baylor, 1, 2, and 3. Ben Kelly and Grant Davis round out your top 5. Gus Reardon, Ryder Lafferty, Jason Tino, Jack Walker, and Josh Strang going to round out your top 10 here from round 8, the Watkins Glen GNCC.
What a battle it was. All of those guys virtually in the mix for the overall win at some point today. And what a beautiful facility here. You can see the views from right here at Watkins Glen. You can look down at the lake. What a great return for GNCC Racing to New York.
No doubt about it. I mean, this has been one everybody's been putting in the comments, get back to New York. And I've been saying, man, there must be something special about racing up here in New York. And I've figured it out now. I am so glad that we're back, and for the racing to deliver the way it did all weekend long. But something's got to stand out to you, Johnny. What's the big takeaways here from round 8?
I think my big takeaway from this one is plain and simple. Grant Baylor is here to play. He made some statements in his post-race interview after grabbing the win, saying a lot of people wrote me off. I didn't have a ride coming into the season. It's taken him a bit to get warmed up, but here he is on top of the charts and winning his first GNCC of 2026. And the championship battle, just shake it up. Liam Draper is your new points leader. Jordan Ashburn having a bit of an off day, finishing outside the top 10 overall. And now we have a new points leader.
Yeah, things are wide open as far as the points goes. My big breakaway or big point, Ryder Lafferty. Man, what a performance up in the mix. We know he's had speed, but shows the fitness is there, the endurance is there, and he's willing to put up a fight as well. So a solid ride from Ryder here to finish, I believe, in that 5th place spot, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 6th overall.
I think, yeah, 6th and 7th overall, I believe.
Gotcha. Yep, gotcha. So a great ride nonetheless. Well, certainly has been excited and so much fun to cover all the action right here on Racer TV. But as always, it's all racing all the time here on Racer TV. Here's what we've got coming up. We pick up with our J-Day Off-Road Series with Round 5, the Budds Creek GP on May 10th. That's all day long. You can see coverage every single lap. And then we keep going GNCC racing, the final round before summer break, the Yamaha Snowshoe GNCC on Saturday. That'll be June 27th with our ATV show, and then on Sunday with our bike show. You don't want to miss that. And then we continue our J-Day Off-Road coverage with Round 6, the Southwick GP on August 2nd from 8 to 5. We'll be here for every lap of the action. Well, as always, I say it takes a village, and I mean it. So many people involved with putting on this broadcast, and we owe them all a huge thank you, starting, of course, with our executive producer, Carrie Russell, OPAG, our producer, Adam Gordon, our director, Don Hampton, our replay operator, Cameron Cotter, our engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, as well as our second engineer, Jack Renner, our manager, Dan Reinhardt, and the official spotter, David Hollywood Kripe, all of our camera operators, Jack Renner, Adam Adkins, Josh Hefner, Adam Arndt, Dave Kelsch, Dylan Atkins, John Carpenter, and Mike Nichols, as well as our moto filmer, Brian Risch, and our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl. For Jackson Burrell and Johnny G, I'm Zach Herron. We'll see you next time right here on Racer TV.